Day of May, if you can believe it. Moving right along, and another nice start to the day out there. It's in the high 50s, and it maybe 60. I guess we're going to get only in the mid 60s today, but
61 right now.
A little bit of rain, but I don't think it's going to be overwhelming, according to meteorologist Dave Murray. You don't have anything to worry about. You can get out, golf, whatever you want to do today. Have a good time. Today, I hope the rain stays away because my daughter's prom is tonight. On a Friday night. Is that not a little unusual to you? Does that seem a little unusual?
It's usually on a Saturday.
Isn't it usually on a Saturday? Yeah. I don't know why. But their prom is tonight. So I'm hoping we don't get the rain that they're expecting maybe this afternoon, because we're going to have to show up for pictures at some point.
Is it, it's not at the school? Is it at a venue, like an event space? Because maybe it was cheaper to rent out the event space.
Oh, it might have been.
Friday
no,
night.
it is at a venue.
Yeah.
It is not at the school.
That might be it.
Yeah. So have that to look forward to. She's only a junior, so we'll hopefully have to look forward to again next year, I would imagine. But yeah, more fun here for the parents. Got hair getting done today. Apparently the nails have already been done. So all that fun stuff. Don't you remember that?
Oh yeah, you have to get all that stuff done. I guess I would get my nails done. I do remember getting my hair done.
Yeah, it seems like a long time ago, doesn't it, Ethan? Ethan's like, yeah. Do you even remember that?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Man, you're gonna laugh at me. I wore a white tuxedo to a prom one time.
My brother did that.
That's how old I am.
Like white shoes and everything?
I think so. I would imagine they were. I don't know. I wouldn't picked it up.
What am I thinking of? The movie with Jim Carrey not Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, it was Dumb and Dumber.
Was it where he wears like the full
orange
on
one.
white up? That's like what I'm picturing.
It had the ruffles like on the shirt.
You're making it
with
worse.
The light blue, like a powder blue on the ruffles.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, the little cummerbund, I think I remember wearing on there. That's I'm sure that scary photo exists somewhere in the box. But
yeah, your
I'm
date was not your current wife, right?
Oh, no.
She's like, after you wear that, I'm not staying with you.
Although this is really weird. I'm going to tell this story. It's been a long time since I've told this story. I only went to prom with two girls when I was in high school, right? And I knew where one of them was.
Wait. At separate times.
Not the same night. I mean, two separate proms, right? Junior, senior prom. And I get to work here at Channel 4 years ago, and Ken Earhart had just started working there many years ago. And he comes to work one day and he goes, "Oh, by the way, guess who's in my kid's carpool in the morning?" And I'm like, "I don't know." He said, "Well, this morning I met one of your prom dates." And I'm thinking, you what? So it ends up that Kathy had relocated here with her husband years ago, who's I think a dentist. And he ran into her, and I had no idea she was in the St. Louis area.
You would have been in Ohio.
Yeah, because I grew up in Southern Ohio, so that was a big shock. Anyway, we digress. We're talking about stuff that most people don't care about. Sorry about that, but it is that time of year. It is, and it's a Friday, and we're hungry, and hopefully when Chief Greg Brown from Eureka arrives a little later this morning in the 8 o'clock hour, he comes bearing food. We're hopeful, aren't we?
Always.
And we're hoping that the people at Chicken Ellie's are already busy working on, not this early, but a little later working on our breakfast. Thank you, Chief. Hint, hint. I'm just kidding. He's great.
You're like, I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding.
I'm kidding, not kidding.
Kidding,
not kidding. We do the Queen of Hearts drawing, of course, for Guns and Hoses. We are the official radio partner of Guns and Hoses. So proud of that. And they're going to be down here this morning when we announce the official winner of maybe somebody draws the Queen of Hearts again this week. I don't know. It's already happened once, but you can buy tickets to this and all the money. It's going to be going on all year long. Every Friday, we'll announce a new winner. And there are smaller cash prizes, but you can win the 50-50 basically if you draw the Queen of Hearts, and you can buy your chances online. So we will, of course, get to today's winner at about 8:20 this morning. So be sure and stay tuned for that. Lots going on. We got Mike Waltz leaving, getting fired or walking out, I don't know. They said he wasn't fired. He's being moved to UN ambassador. We're going to find out what JJ Carafano thinks about all of that when we get him on here this morning from Heritage. He always joins us on Friday mornings at about 7:20. So stay tuned for that. Congressman Eric Burlison is going to be joining us as well a little bit later. So we do have lots and lots to get to for you this morning. Right now, Ethan, let's get to our top stories, please.
The Marc Cox short list.
The economy shrank. First time in 3 years. People are pointing to the tariff policy. There are people looking at their 401ks that are worried.
Are they? That's Brett Baer there last night. He was interviewing J.D. Vance and talking about the poor economic data from Joe Biden's economy in the first quarter.
The polls show Trump has the lowest 100-day approval rating since they started polling.
There's a poll out today that has your approval rating lower than any other congressional leader. Are you concerned that you may be a liability for your party?
Polls come and go. Our party is united.
Chuck Schumer, he's got the lowest polls ever. Well, what about the poll that shows you at 17%? Oh, polls come and go. Chuck Schumer is the biggest hypocrite jerk in Congress.
Congresswoman Omar, I'm Miles Morrell with the Daily Caller News Foundation. Do you think more of your Democratic colleagues should be traveling to El Salvador to advocate on behalf of Rodrigo Garcia?
I think you should stop.
Ho! How about that? Ilhan Omar decides that she's just going to drop the F-bomb on a reporter asking her a question she doesn't want to hear.
I have been urging President Trump on trade, focus on China. And I think every step we can take to de-link our economy from China is good for American national security and good for American economic security.
Yep, there's Senator Ted Cruz out there yesterday with some advice for the president. Focus on China. China's coming around. They may be the last one. Your cheap dress from Temu may cost you a few more dollars for a little while, but it's going to come around. Listen, the Chinese have got millions of people sitting cross-legged on a floor somewhere with a single strand of lights over their head, piecing together the piece of junk you're about to order from Temu. They got to keep those people employed, even if they're only paying them a few pennies a day, honestly. So this is how bad it is. And this is an example from, God, my gosh, 25 years ago now. My aunt and uncle used to be in the furniture import business, right? And they had a factory in Southern California, a plant where they would import ornately carved headboards and furniture from China. And at some point, they just skipped the middleman and they'd go over and buy a container full of it themselves, have it shipped over, and then they would reassemble it and sell it, at the big North Carolina furniture sales when they have those once or twice a year, right? And they were providing these to furniture companies right here in Missouri. This is, again, many years ago. But my uncle he got invited over there to meet the Chinese people he was dealing with. And they took him to the plant or to the factory where this furniture was being made. And I kid you not, I saw the video. It looked like if you'd been able to go somewhere in America and take video in the early 1800s, or whenever we had electricity, maybe the late 1800s, and it was an open-sided building with a tin roof, with a single strand of lights going down the middle of it with these bare light bulbs hanging down. And on the floor, sitting cross-legged, were these very gifted Chinese artisans with old-fashioned hand tools carving wood, carving these ornate pieces of furniture, these roll-top desks and I mean, it was unbelievable to look at, but it looked like what it was, something out of the third world. They're still doing that today. I mean, maybe some of the tools have changed 25 years later, but they're still doing that same thing. They've got to keep those people employed, and America is their biggest customer. So I say, calm down. It's going to be okay because China will come around. They cannot not have American consumers buying either their highly crafted pieces of woodwork or the junk they're producing in the Nike factories. I mean, they've got to have American dollars. So Donald Trump is doing exactly the right thing, Senator Cruz. Trust me on that. Trust me on that. Here's the other big news from yesterday. The EO he signed defunding
Yeah,
PBS and NPR.
Yeah.
I've got some thoughts on that. I'm sure you'll be surprised by that. But I've got some thoughts on that. We're going to get to it coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Ethan, who got to pick the music this morning? You, right?
Yeah, we did. We didn't have a winner this week.
So are we doing anything different with the national anthem on Fridays these days?
Well, today we need a big
tradition?
win, so I'm going to go with Jeremy Boyer for the Blues. So wake him up today.
Let's
boys.
go Blues.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Traffic-wise this morning, we look good. Ooh, let me turn off the scanner so you don't have to hear that. But we are off to a good start. Now, rain, of course, is expected later, but not yet. And in the not yet period, things are quiet. Quiet through North County. Eastbound 70, 64, 40, and 44. They look good. Northbound 55 is in good shape. No problems if you are headed in from Illinois. We look good on the Illinois side as well. This report brought to you by Artistic Decks. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Artistic Decks will customize your dream deck with the highest quality materials in business for over 20 years. And it's affordable. Let me say that again. Your dream deck and affordable. Let Artistic Decks make it a reality this summer. Call for a free quote, 314-280-0821, artisticdecks.net.
All right. So I don't know, it's early in the morning. If you're up at this hour listening, maybe you're like me and you get tired sometimes because you work early hours. You have long days. You've got family responsibilities, guys. If you're feeling tired and dragged down by everything, maybe it's time to take my advice and go to Victory Men's Health. The medical doctors over there will work with you. They take a blood panel. They see what's going on with your vitamin deficiencies, maybe your testosterone levels, whatever it is. It can be a variety of things. You'd be surprised at how many of us suffer from vitamin deficiencies. And then they put you on a course of correction with supplements. They can do vitamin infusions. If that helps, they can give you testosterone optimization, either cream or injections, whatever that takes. They can help you with sexual health problems if it's affecting that. So many different ways Victory Men's Health can make your life better. You need to go visit them and quit putting it off. Call them. Listen, they're in O'Fallon, Illinois. They're in O'Fallon, Missouri. They're out in Town and Country, Clayton 141. They're in Sunset Hills off Watson Road. There's one somewhere in your vicinity. Get a hold of them today. Tell them Marc Cox sent you. Go online to victorymenshealth.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-926-5959. 800-926-5959. 800-926-5959. Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-MILLION. That's 314-9 all zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements. Selling your home? Every situation is unique. Find the best options that are right for you from the real estate team who offer more options. My friends Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. Check out the only agents I trust. 314-336-1991. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
Locked and loaded. The Marc Cox Morning Show. Catch anything you missed today by getting the show podcast at 971talk.com.
The number one challenge here that we see and is, of course, the First Amendment in the United States is a fairly robust protection of rights, and that is a protection of rights both for platforms, which I actually think is very important, that platforms have those rights to be able to regulate what kind of content they want on their sites. But it also means that it is a little bit tricky to really address some of the real challenges of where does bad information come from, and sort of the influence peddlers who have made a real market economy around it.
I know you won't recognize the voice, but that is Catherine Mayer. She is the head of National Public Radio, or maybe it's PBS. One of the two. I think that was the lady from PBS. But remember that hearing they had in Congress where these two women seemed shocked to find out that 100% of the people in their newsrooms were Democrats. And they seemed shocked when you suggested that they weren't fair and balanced in all of their coverage of issues. And I don't know anybody, I don't know even liberals that I know will admit that NPR's their station of choice because it covers issues from a perspective that they appreciate.
I don't think as many liberals I know would agree with that. I think they view it as unbiased, just like you had Scott Pelley sitting here saying that his producer who was let go from 60 Minutes or who left, that he was unbiased and he was the gatekeeper to make sure that they were telling stories objectively when clearly he wasn't. At the end of the day, here's the problem. And in the first line of his executive order blasting the amount of money we spend in taxpayer dollars on public broadcasting in this country, they spell it out. I want to read it to you. National Public Radio and Public Broadcasting Service receive taxpayer funds through the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Unlike in 1967, when it was established, today the media landscape is filled with abundant, diverse, and innovative news options. Government funding of news media in this environment is not only outdated and unnecessary, but corrosive to the appearance of journalistic independence. I'm waiting for the screams, but Sesame Street, but Downton Abbey, but all this crap you watch on there. Here's the deal. The reason they've been able to get away with a lot of stuff on PBS, and the reason, like Sesame Street's not even produced, I think they sold the rights to that. Somebody else does it now. But by the time it ended, it was so politically correct. You had, it was DEI Central that they were trying to program your children with. And they take taxpayer dollars to do this. At the end of the day, do whatever you want. Just don't expect to be propped up by public money. This is the complaint. This is not, I listened to the headline this morning on Fox Radio. And the headline was, Donald Trump takes aim at reporters he disagrees with. That was the tone of the headline I heard this morning. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but that'll be pervasive throughout the media today. That Donald Trump is doing this because he disagrees with the angle public radio takes on issues. That's not, first of all, it's not only misleading. This has been a complaint for 30 years by conservatives who look at this and say, well, that's funny. How come there aren't any outlets reporting from a conservative perspective that get federal money, and that couldn't probably exist without it? And that's the point. I'm going to play something for you here that I've got queued up, and I think this is something that you may or may not recognize. I know you'll recognize the voice. You know why you'll recognize the voice? Just listen.
It was the maelstrom, and there was so much media attention on us, that we were going to be the thing that changed the whole media environment. And it didn't matter that there was talk radio and Rush Limbaugh and, Glenn Beck on the radio at that point and Fox News. Instead, with Al Franken and Janine Garofalo on the radio, America was going to take up 180 in its politics. And so many of the assumptions were wrong.
That's Rachel Maddow, one of the original hosts of Air America. Remember Air America? Annie Fry, little small trivia point here. Annie Fry's first job in radio was running the board, basically what Ethan's doing over here, for Air America here in St. Louis.
I'll be honest, I've never heard of that.
Really?
Mm-mm.
So from 2004 or 3 or 4 to about 2010, there was a liberal commercial radio, nationally syndicated radio program in America called Air America. It had Al Franken, Rachel Maddow, Janine Garofalo were all hosts on it. And it was going to be the next big thing. It was going to challenge Rush Limbaugh. It was going to, it was a place for liberals to have their say. And it died on the vine because there was no commercial support, because there were no listeners. Do you know why there were no listeners? There were no listeners because the liberals already control the mainstream media. People didn't need to go to Air America to hear the liberal point of view. They just had to watch the evening news. That's why conservative radio has flourished in this country and still does. Let NPR go out and raise its own money if it can support itself. My guess is it can't.
This is a special notice to all U.S. taxpayers with back taxes to the IRS. Billions in tax relief is now being made available to struggling taxpayers, giving thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars in savings away to those who qualify. If you're facing wage garnishment, threatening letters, audits, liens, levies, or already in a payment plan, you can now expedite the resolution to your tax problem, end collections, and even qualify to reduce a large portion of what you owe. Stop IRS Debt has established a relief hotline for you to call to check what savings and options you qualify for. Dial 800-298-7182. With many people facing job loss and rising cost of living, these special IRS initiatives are designed to aid delinquent taxpayers with the relief that they need to get a fresh start. For a free consultation to see what savings you qualify for, call 800-298-7182. 800-298-7182. 800-298-7182.
All right, you have a chance, because we're now in the month of May officially, to go to prooutdoor.com, click on residential lighting, and you will see their lighting giveaway through 97.1 FM Talk. We're partnering with them on this. They are going to hold a giveaway for a $2,500 landscape lighting package. Boy, the picture they've got up here, the way this highlights the beautiful architecture on this home is gorgeous. They're coming to my house, by the way, on Tuesday to take a look at the residential lighting package they're going to install for me. You have a chance to win $2,500 worth of residential landscape lighting. All you have to do is go on and enter, and they're going to pick a winner on June 6th. So go to prooutdoor.com, click on their residential lighting tab, landscape lighting, and then you'll be able to enter for yourself. They're there for all of your landscape needs, including irrigation systems. Again, it's prooutdoor.com.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Investors are looking today for signs the job market is holding up. As the April employment report is released, economists are predicting smaller job growth at 130,000 jobs, with the unemployment rate holding at 4.2%. Mark Tepper at Strategic Wealth Partners says stocks have been resilient.
It's incredible that over the course of the last month, whether we're talking the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ, we saw top to bottom drawdowns well north of 10%. Yet when you look at what happened in April, the S&P finished down 1%. The NASDAQ finished flat for the month. So the comeback has been remarkable, and we don't even have a trade deal yet.
More earnings are expected today from Cigna Group, DuPont, ExxonMobil, Chevron, and others. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Coselda, invested in you.
I'm alpine skier Michaela Schifrin. I've won the most World Cup ski races in history. But what does success mean to me? Success means discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us. And it's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. If you're looking for success, surround yourself with the people who will get you there. If you're an advisor or investor, choose Stifel, where success meets success.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated. Member SIPC and NYSE.
Past performance is no indication of future results. Investing involves risk. Consult a financial advisor before making any investment.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you. We look fine on the roads, although I just had a report of a guy with a headlamp on walking in the median northbound 21 at Schenck Road. Something to watch out for there. But for the most part, we look good. And at this hour, it's not raining, so we've got that going for us as well. Off to a good start. If something comes up, I will let you know. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888. Sell your home with certainty. Sell your home with Gloria Lou. Your home sold guaranteed realty. Gloria Lou's name is her promise. Call 314-325-6888 and start packing.
Okay, go ahead and put this on the calendar since we're into the month of May now. Coming up on the 20th, that is a Tuesday for those of you keeping track. We're going to meet out at the Frontenac Hilton with our friends from the Retirement Advisory Group. It's our next Protecting Your Retirement Educational event. If you've never been to one of these, make this the one you go to. It's convenient. It's on a Tuesday night. It's at 6:30. We get there about 6 o'clock. Me, Annie Fry, Mark Reardon. And we kind of hang out and mingle with folks as they come in because we fill the room with 97.1 listeners. It's a free event. All you have to do, just tell them you're coming so they know they have enough chairs. And they have cookies and some soda for you. And then Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw will take over about 6:30, and they'll just educate you. If you're worried about the market at all and your retirement funds because you're 59 and a half or older and you are concerned about the ups and downs in the market, they can tell you how to overcome that. And they've been using these strategies for 38 years, so they know what they're talking about. So call them today, 314-993-9494, just to let them know you're coming, or you're bringing a spouse or a friend. You're welcome to do that as well. They just need a head count. Tuesday, May 20th, 6:30, Frontenac Hilton. Go to retirementkey.com.
I put money into real estate, and from there came one of my largest returns on one of our properties, which is about close to 300% return in about 14 months.
That's Joe Cantu on what Lifestyles Unlimited has done for him. Join Del Walmsley and Lifestyles Unlimited for Expo 2025, May 7th through the 10th in Irving, Texas. Get hands-on training from successful investors and learn proven strategies that work. Save $100 when you text EXPO to 88007, EXPO to 88007.
1 in 4 Americans today are living with a disability. I'm one of them. People with disabilities are extremely talented, resilient problem solvers that have so much to offer. And we've got a trusted ally on our side, an organization we can rely on, Easter Seals. Easter Seals is leading the way to full equity, inclusion, and access to healthcare, employment, and education for people with disabilities, families, and communities. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours.
Learn more and get involved at easterseals.com.
A man, a myth, America. The Marc Cox Morning Show. Kim on a whim.
A Liverpool football player, or I would say soccer player, but I guess technically you should say
Yeah.
football player, is taking a lot of heat and actually could get fined if this continues after he ended up taking off his jersey and revealing a shirt that said, "I belong to Jesus." So here's what happened. This player, who I'll be honest, I'd never heard of, but Cody Gakpo is his name. He scores the winning goal and helps his team, Liverpool, secure the Premier League title. So this is a huge deal. He's celebrating with his team. Again, he has his actual jersey on, but at that point, while he's celebrating, he takes off the team jersey to reveal the other jersey that is just enraging people. How dare he wear a shirt?
Why are they so mad about it?
Well, here's the issue. So the Football Association does have some pretty specific rules on what is allowed when it comes to uniforms. And here's what it says. It says players must not reveal undergarments that show political, religious, personal slogans, statements, or images or advertising other than the manufacturer's logo. So they're only allowed to wear anything or have wording on it that's already been approved by the association, by the football association.
Well,
so they verbally warned him, but they could end up fining him, and he could actually have I believe he could be banned. I mean, this could get serious if he doesn't, I guess, change his ways.
So I'd be interested to know the next time out, he should take his jersey off and have a shirt on that says Allah Akbar and see if there's the same negative reaction to that.
Just put a shirt on that says I love Abrego Garcia, and I bet you, that would be.
And even in Liverpool, they would
popular.
probably know. They'd probably know what that is.
Here's the problem I have with this. So this guy obviously had this "I belong to Jesus" shirt that people are so enraged about. But if you look at the history of the Football Association, FA, I guess is what you often see it abbreviated as, they have been very vocal about some of these other things. They have been partnered with different initiatives aimed at promoting LGBTQ plus inclusion in soccer. They've done stuff related to Black Lives Matter. So give me a break, Football Association, trying to claim that you've never gotten political. Their little law 4 that they have that they must not reveal undergarments that show these slogans or statements or whatever that are political or religious is nonsense. What's the only thing that they have the only leg that the Football Association has to stand on with this is that they didn't approve this.
They can pick and choose their causes. Now, I understand as an employer, I can understand having a rule controlling that. If you've got people paying you millions of dollars to have their logo on this and their logo on that, then having something pop up that hasn't been paid for might be detrimental to you. But his faith, the statement of his faith is not a commercial. It's not a commercial application, right? What if he pulled his shirt off and it just had his name on there? What's his name again?
Cody Gakpo.
Cody. Just said Cody or Gakpo on it. Would they be mad about that? Because they should treat all of those things equally. I would think the point of that would be so that, I'll just take for an example. It's probably a bad example, but let's say, for example, he had the Nike swoosh on his shirt, and Nike didn't pay to advertise with that football team. I could see them being mad about that.
Mm-hmm.
But I would look at this a little differently because remember, all of these Major League Baseball did it. They had some sort of, if it wasn't BLM, what was it? They put something on the mound behind the pitcher in a couple of games that was pissing everybody off.
Mm-hmm.
But they can get away with it because they're the owners.
Right. So this is years ago, but RG3, he was reportedly told by the NFL that he was not allowed to wear a t-shirt with the phrase "No Jesus, no peace." He had gone to this post-game press conference and I guess he wasn't wearing his official Nike shirt that he was supposed to be wearing, but instead he wore this shirt, "No Jesus, no peace," and got in trouble for it. He was warned by the NFL, "Hey, don't you dare wear that again." So this is happening across the United States. Clearly it's happening in England, but this is happening around the world where you have this double standard, I guess you could call it. I would call it a double standard, where they say, we don't want to get political. We don't want to do this. We don't want to do that. Well, actually they do. They're more than willing to get political, but it's as long as it is in keeping with their stance on things, which usually for whatever reason tends to be very liberal, they're fine with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think all this dude needs to do, Cody, is go start a GoFundMe page and to pay his fine. Just whatever the fine amount is, if that happens.
Well, they just warned him for now, but he could face a fine.
Just start a GoFundMe page and people will start donating to it. I mean, he could wear a Black Lives Matter shirt and then he could get in trouble for that. And he could start a GoFundMe page and somebody would donate to it to pay it off.
And these players, not just in England, but around the world again, have been in trouble for not adhering to the dress code where they're all expected to wear the rainbow bands. You know what I mean? Remember how was it the MLB players? There were some players who had said because of their faith, they didn't feel comfortable wearing some like rainbow flag band or something like that for Pride Month, or there was like something on their shoes. And they said, look, I'm not going to be doing this. And they were getting so much heat from it. So you should at least have a choice. You shouldn't be forced to support something like that, because I know if I were an athlete, I wouldn't be comfortable wearing something like that.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, what do people expect of these athletes? Because more and more athletes have been coming out and been pretty vocal about where they stand on some of these key issues.
Well, I mean, I'm glad there's a little bit of outrage over this. I don't know how they do things so differently over there too in England, right? Remember the guy earlier this week who was asking Caroline Leavitt if they would consider amnesty for people from Britain who wanted to come here to get away from the ridiculous. Of course, they don't have a First Amendment over there, but you post something on the internet these days that offends somebody, you can be put in jail for it in parts of Europe right now. I mean, that's how ridiculous it is. I don't know if Americans, if they're traveling over there, need to be concerned about that or not, or if it just affects their citizens. I think it would kill tourism if they did that. So they're probably not out looking for people to sideline if they're just there visiting.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember that actually.
No?
I do not remember that. No. Daniel on YouTube is bringing up Colin Kaepernick. Now, Daniel does not agree with us, it seems like, for most of the issues we talk about, which is fine. But, with Colin Kaepernick kneeling, the NFL, for a number of reasons, did not like that. I did not like that. I thought it was completely ridiculous and disrespectful. And at some point, when you are doing something like that and you're leading to people turning off the games, that's a problem, because the NFL absolutely is going to care about losing money, because if viewership is down because you're refusing to stand up for the national anthem, they're going to do something about it.
Here's that sound I was talking about. I think it was from Monday of this week. Listen.
In Britain, we have had over a quarter of a million people issued non-climate hate incidents. Would the Trump administration consider political asylum for British citizens in such a situation?
I have not heard that proposed to the president, but I certainly can and see if it's something the administration would entertain.
I said amnesty. I meant asylum. Yeah.
Yeah, why do I not remember that?
I don't know, but I mean, it was, while it seems like a ridiculous question to think that people from England might need asylum from their country, usually you have to be under a threat of death or something, supposedly, to seek asylum. Remember, the libs were going south of the border and coaching. They were taking Spanish-speaking people south of the border and coaching illegals on what to say when they got to the border, that they needed asylum because they were in fear for their lives. Here are the key words, just what you need to use. I don't know if anybody's life is being threatened, but they are being imprisoned in England now for saying something, for misinformation on the internet. Disinformation. That sounds familiar, doesn't it?
That term really just it's like nails on a chalkboard for me.
Marco Rubio, I think we got a soundbite from him this morning, discovered evidence that there were dossiers being built on people in America by the Biden administration for disinformation, for information they didn't agree with, which flies in the face of the First Amendment. How in the world were they getting away with that?
That's the problem with all these people who were on social media or hired by these social media companies who were supposed to sort out the disinformation. Well, who gets to say it's disinformation? What are the standards? You don't like it and therefore it's disinformation? I mean, think about what happened with COVID. Anything that was contrary to what was being pushed by the federal government was deemed misinformation, and basically you were put into Facebook jail.
Yeah. Wow,
you were put into YouTube jail.
I was kicked off YouTube
for how many
months? Daring to,
a long time.
No, we were banned.
Oh, banned.
That channel got banned. We've restarted a different one, but they banned me for talking about ivermectin because they didn't want anybody talking about it, even though what we said was the absolute truth, and the fact that it saved many, many lives right here in the greater St. Louis area. But the medical community and establishment, you couldn't get it.
I was listening to a podcast
Didn't want you to get it.
Yesterday. This is actually, I forget his name off the top of my head right now, but he'd be a good guest to get on. But he wrote a book. He considers himself a liberal. He calls himself independent, but he says, I tend to lean left. And he was a freelance writer, I guess still is a freelance journalist. And he was among the few journalists who was seeing the corruption for what it was during COVID, and he would question the CDC and get these bogus responses. And so he wrote an entire book about the cover up and about the lies and the deception. I mean, all these different things. The ridiculous measures that were taken in schools when they were closing them down. I didn't remember this, but he talked about kids being told in some areas they had to eat their lunch outside and not talk because it was too dangerous to even utter a word because you could spread COVID.
And they were not banned for disinformation. Yeah, that's kind of where we're headed. Hey, by the way, we know what they say. Karma is a real witch sometimes. Yes, and it's come back to bite someone. I'm going to tell you that story. It's a kid from Georgia. We'll get to it when we get back. Stay tuned.
The Marc Cox Morning Show
on 97.1 FM Talk. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning. I know it will be a surprise to say we have rain on the way, but it may actually miss the morning commute, which would be a nice change. And so far, it's quiet. We've got the typical Friday morning going out there. Quiet through North County and looking good throughout the area, including northbound 55. No delays through multiple construction zones from down south into downtown. And if you are headed in from Illinois, now is the time. Things look great on the bridges, and it's quiet on the Illinois side in general. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, time for us to talk a little bit about my friends at Air Comfort Service. Here's something you may not know. We talked about this some last year, but federal government regulations are driving up the cost of heating and air conditioning. There's no doubt about it. There's a new type of refrigerant that's got to be used now because of these new regulations. My friends at Air Comfort Service did you right. They did you a large here because they went out and they stocked up on last year's equipment, the 2024 HVAC equipment. You can get it right now from Air Comfort Service at last year's prices. They're going to pass the savings on to you. So if your system is at around 10 years old, if you've got to add refrigerant to your air conditioner in recent years, now's the time to get that free estimate. Talk to them about upgrading your system to those 2024 prices, with those 2024 prices before these price increases kick in. I'm the proud owner of an air comfort system in my house with a heat pump that saved me a lot of money this winter, and a high efficiency air conditioner that's going to save me money this summer. You can do the same thing. Get a hold of them today. Get in your comfort zone with Air Comfort Service. It's pretty easy because you just go to their website. They'll come out and give you a free estimate, no charge for that visit to come and visit you. Call them at 314-513-0091, aircomfortservice.com.
At Progressive, we're making things even easier. We'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
What are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
Well, what are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. Don't you remember me? Don't you know that we miss you?
Miss me? Who misses me?
You know, all your friends in the forest. The trees, the pond, that little fort that you made out of branches. We all miss you.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
The forest is not that far away. Have an adventure today. I'm sure your mom would take you.
You're right. I should get out. I want to have fun. Play in puddles, catch frogs, and climb trees. Hey, Mom!
Yeah, hon? Steven, what is that in your hand?
It's my sense of adventure, Mom. It's telling me we need to get out of the house and have some fun in nature today.
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
And now, an excerpt from The Grocery List, a book by Ryan Wiggins.
The hardest part about people isn't the emotional stuff. It's the bones.
Wiggins America, 7 to 8 Saturday mornings and Sunday evenings. Helping St. Louis wake up. The Marc Cox Morning Show. The Marc Cox Morning Show, on the air and streaming at 971talk.com.
Look in my eyes, what do you see?
thing that we are working with Jay Bhattacharya, the new NIH director, on with, as well as Secretary Kennedy, is looking at the gain of function research that in the case of the Wuhan lab, as well as many others around, many of these other biolabs around the world, was actually U.S. funded.
If that's true, if it was Peter Daszak's research with the Wuhan so-called fat lady that caused this pandemic, then we did fund it. Then Anthony Fauci helped fund the pandemic.
The
He was
thing
in
that
charge of
he
fighting.
denied over and over and over to Senator Rand Paul's questioning.
That's right, under oath.
Under oath, exactly. So is it any wonder that he sought a preemptive pardon for anything during a certain period of time by President Biden before he left office?
Yep, that's exactly it. Maybe somebody needs to ask Anthony Fauci about that. If you were one of the ones that paid $485 to get a ticket to the Maryville Speaker Series, because coming up in October, Anthony Fauci and his huge speaking fee are going to be supported by that over here at Maryville University. Isn't that nice? The Speaker Series,
I
they
can't
bring
believe
Tony
he's
to town.
still out and doing things.
Well, who's paying to listen to him? You heard what she said there. They've got all of the evidence they need that he did use U.S. taxpayer dollars to fund gain of function research in Wuhan, China, which is where the COVID virus came from.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a direct link and evidence of it. And it's so obvious now why he needed some sort of blanket immunity from Joe Biden.
But that's what's frustrating, is that people who believe everything Anthony Fauci said, it doesn't matter what he does or what he says or what evidence comes out, they are still set in their ways that, this was something that, was preventable, and Anthony Fauci said everything right, and he was leading us in the right direction with masks and telling us to get the shot and all the boosters.
Yes. Yeah. So I've wondered, speaking of those pardons, if there's going to be any advancement in this auto pen controversy.
What would come of it?
Well, I don't know. There's a group called the Gateway Pundits reporting this morning. There's a group called the Oversight Project that has released some analysis of Biden's executive order signatures. And, I don't know, is it enough that he was aware that it was happening, but he didn't sign it? Or is there a chance that some of these things happen unbeknownst to Biden, and some staffer was using the auto pen to sign executive orders that they wanted to put into place? According to this article, the auto pen scandal's growing by the day. The Oversight Project gathered every document they could find with Joe Biden's signature, and all of them used auto pen signatures except for the announcement that he was dropping out of the 2024 election.
So
every single one of the ones they could collect used the auto pen instead of Joe Biden's signature. Remember how Donald Trump famously, you can see him sketching his name out on all these. Biden didn't do any of that.
So just for context, did other presidents use this auto pen thing? How popular is that?
There was a time when it was, and I don't know the specific law on this. There was a time when it was only used for like correspondence. Like if they had to issue a letter to somebody that was going to be signed by the president, they wouldn't bother the president to sign all those. They'd use an auto pen that signed his signature at the bottom. But I would think on official documents, I don't know when we moved away from having to have the chief executive sign off on these things, because it kind of proves that they're in charge and they have to take some responsibility for that. So the Oversight Project's analysis of these EOs shows Biden's first year in office compared to 2022 and 2025. In 2021, there were 0 signed with auto pen. Total executive orders 78. And by 2025, it was 100%. In 2022, it was 100%. 14 of the 14 executive orders that he signed in 2022 was auto pen. 16 of the 24 in 2023, 14 of the 19 in 2024.
I'd like to see how they're able to decipher between his signature where he actually signed it versus auto pen.
Well,
there obviously is a way.
Yeah, there is.
To the naked eye or technology?
This is auto pen A, auto pen B. They've got an example of the differences in this article here.
online of his signature. And so the point is, if 14 of the 14 executive orders signed in 2025, right before he left office, were signed with auto pen, then he didn't sign them. He didn't sign any of the papers providing blanket immunity to all these Democrats before he left office. And the question then would be, are they valid? Was he aware of it? They're going to claim that he was, but where's the proof?
Well, even if he signed it, was he aware of it?
Yeah,
let's be real.
Good question. All right, back in just a few minutes. We'll get you a check of business and then get into in other news in the next hour. Stay tuned.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA. So we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't pay, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
The Cards, the Mets.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 7:15. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
What's your favorite 4-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our 4-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar. And maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory firm in Missouri and Illinois. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Find out why Renewal by Andersen has the most 5-star reviews in St. Louis at rbastl.com or call 314-332-1924. rbastl.com or 314-332-1924.
After I came home from Iraq, I could still hear the booms. Makes it hard to be a good mom.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I'm Naomi Mathis, Air Force veteran.
DAV helps veterans get the benefits they've earned.
Thanks to DAV, I was able to begin to heal.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
My victory is being able to be here for my children.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
They're graduating in a golden age. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what President Trump told them at the University of Alabama last night.
Everybody should believe in the American dream. It's real, it's there, and it's right before you.
Telling the class of 2025,
borders are not racist, speech is not violence. America is good, terrorists are bad. Men can never become women. Police are not criminals, and criminals are not victims.
The speech came after a change at the White House, where Fox's Jared Halpern reports.
Mike Waltz is out as national security advisor, but is being nominated by President Trump to serve as ambassador at the UN. The move follows weeks of pressure on Waltz to step down following revelations his office accidentally added a journalist to a private text chain about sensitive military operations against the Houthis in Yemen.
The president's going to the Supreme Court, trying to deport more Venezuelans here illegally after a federal judge kept in place a temporary protected status for hundreds of thousands of Venezuelan nationals. There's been another ruling against the Trump administration.
U.S. District Court Judge Fernando Rodriguez Jr., a President Trump appointee, rules the 18th century wartime Alien Enemies Act cannot be used against people who the Trump administration claims are gang members invading the U.S., that the president is misusing the law.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. That act was used in March to deport hundreds of alleged gang members sent to El Salvador. Today, President Trump will send his budget proposal to Congress, where Republicans are already working on a big bill to fund the Trump agenda.
Per the Wall Street Journal, the president wants to make deep cuts in foreign aid, renewable energy, and education. The president is aiming to cut non-defense discretionary spending by more than $160 billion, lower than the $1 trillion Elon Musk had promised to slash.
Fox's Madeline Rivera referencing Musk's work at Doge. Democrats claim the Republican budget plan will make cuts to key programs. America's listening to Fox News.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Good morning. Made it to Friday. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. 61 degrees at 6:03. A new report finds 2024 was the deadliest year for pedestrians in St. Louis City and County. According to the report from TrailNet, there was a 187% increase in pedestrian fatalities in the city last year and a 24% jump in the county. Grand Boulevard was determined to be among the most dangerous streets in St. Louis. In the Metro East, more than 100 employees with Hubbell Wigman will soon be out of a job. The manufacturing company based out of Freeburg announced plans to close next year. Those layoffs will begin in September. 110 employees are unfortunately expected to lose their jobs. The Ferguson Police Department is giving teens and young adults a behind-the-scenes look at policing. Starting this month, young men and women between the ages of 14 and 20 can attend a class that will explore careers in policing and offer an understanding of what policing looks like in their community. One of the department's sergeants says this is an opportunity to impact the public's perception of policing. 6:04 and 61 degrees at 97.1 FM Talk. In sports, downtown St. Louis will be rowdy tonight, and here's why. The Blues facing Winnipeg for Game 6 tonight at home, 7 o'clock. This is a must-win. Now, if they win, they'll be going back to Winnipeg for Game 7 on Sunday. Meanwhile, Cardinals lost 9-1 against the Reds yesterday to wrap up that series. Tonight, back at Busch Stadium to kick off a 3-game series with the Mets. First pitch, 7:15. Also tonight, Battlehawks are at home playing the Renegades again. Yeah, we just played them mid-April. Kickoff for tonight's game, 7 o'clock. On the road tomorrow, City playing Seattle at 9:30. And tomorrow is also the Kentucky Derby. 61 degrees at 6:05. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you and happy Friday. We've got a stall reported eastbound 44 approaching 270. But it's on the right shoulder, so not a big deal. In fact, we've got that Friday morning light traffic at this hour, and things look great. And that's really throughout the entire area. I would go over some road work for the weekend, but when there's a chance of rain, they always suspend it. And, of course, we have a chance for rain. So if that happens this weekend, I will be surprised. If you are headed in from Illinois, things look fine there as well. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Brought to you by your local Lennox Premier dealer, Scott Lee Heating.
Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
We are in a funky little weather pattern as a small cutoff low pressure system gets stuck over the bi-state region. A mix of clouds and sunshine, a couple of showers during the afternoon hours, primarily 69 for the high. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy, 51. Saturday, unsettled skies, couple of showers, but also a fair share of dry time, 65. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
6:06 our time right now, 61 degrees. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show or any other show on 97.1 FM Talk anytime or anywhere by downloading the free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
The Marc Cox Morning Show.
Listen to both sides. The bottom line is, I respect that we don't agree.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Just to find a voice. Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
I don't know how to put this.
Marc Cox.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Well, it adds excitement, doesn't it, folks?
All right, good morning to you. Welcome into the Marc Cox Morning Show, the second day of May, and we are so happy that you're with us today. It is it's a nice start to the day, although if you look at the radar, there's a little bit of rain out there depending on where you are. Hopefully it doesn't dampen your morning commute. I think most of it is probably not in the immediate vicinity of us right now. You might be. I doubt if you're anywhere listening where there's rain at the moment, but down south of Columbia, Jeff City, there's a big bunch of rain headed this way, and hopefully it'll just nick the area to the south, but you can expect a few showers over the course of the day. I'm sure it's going to randomly hit you. Hopefully not when my daughter's getting her prom pictures taken later. Well, let's keep our fingers crossed.
Outside.
Yeah.
I saw someone taking pictures the other day at a park. I guess I keep forgetting that school's already out for a lot of people. Like, obviously you had Trump speaking at Alabama's he was the commencement speaker for yesterday, Alabama's graduation ceremony. And I'm like, gosh, it's May 1st. They're already graduating.
Things are so different these days. I hate to act like I walked to school a mile in the snow uphill kind of thing, but when seriously though, we just went through this. I don't embarrass my daughter, but we just went through this. Today it's a thing that a guy must ask a girl in some very loud manner to go to prom.
What do you mean loud?
Well, like with a big sign or surprise them somehow with.
No, that's
new.
No,
that's new from my day.
Okay.
From my day,
last 20 years.
From my day, you got up your nerve and you asked the girl in the hallway at school, and she either said yes or no. Or if you were dating the girl, it was just presumed you were going to go to prom together. Now, even if you're dating someone, there's still this expectation that you're going to do some big event. And then everybody has to go somewhere and get pictures. Hell, we got pictures at the front door when I picked her up, putting the corsage on, and that was about it.
I graduated from high school in a few years. It'll be 20 years since I graduated high school, which is kind of crazy.
It is.
It does not feel like that, but we had that too, where you were maybe not to the same extent for Ginger, but we had that where you did. I mean, people did some really elaborate things to ask a date out.
I remember when my older son and daughter were in high school. I mean, it was a thing. I'm not saying it's brand new, but it's kind of over the top. It really is kind of ridiculous how big of a deal it is.
Did you take your horse and buggy to prom or?
No, I took my 350 horsepower Pontiac Firebird to prom is what I did. So
that was the car. That was the cool car back then, right?
Actually, somebody's going to ding me for that because I don't think that's the cubic inch of that engine. But sorry about that. It's been a few years. Maybe it was a 324. I can't remember. But anyway, I was sporting. Had the feathered hair. and the Pontiac Firebird.
You should post a picture
It was
of this
gold.
in your white suit.
Oh, it was gold. I've got that somewhere. I ran across it the other day. Oh yeah,
Did you
absolutely.
think limo still a thing?
What's that?
Or limo still a thing for the kids to take? The students to take?
I haven't heard anything about that.
It's a lot of money for parents to have to shell out when
Prom's
you think about
a lot
it.
of money. The tickets are like $70.
But it's not
or
even
something
that.
like that.
Your dress. If you have a girl, dress, hair,
Mhm.
makeup. The ticket
Spray
itself.
tan potentially.
But maybe
I'm just
that,
saying.
shoes, jewelry, a limo.
It's crazy. Oh man! And then years later, you'll look back and say, "I barely remember that. Why do we waste so much effort on it?" But you'll have lots of pictures to show of it, won't you? For sure. All right. Coming up, we're going to get to in other news here before the end of the hour. I've got this story I'm going to get to in the next segment about this kid that once wished death on Donald Trump. And boy, karma has kind of come back to bite him, so to speak, in the rear end. We're going to get to that story for you. JJ Carafano on this whole Tim Waltz story, the Waltz story where the Mike Waltz, I called him Tim Waltz, Mike Waltz, who has stepped down from or been fired. Depends on how you look at it. The administration says he's being moved to be UN ambassador, but it may be tied to that signal controversy, which happened a month or two ago, and it appeared had blown over. Everybody wanted Pete Hegseth's head over all that, and that didn't happen. We're going to get to him on that. We got to the Capitol beat today with Congressman Eric Burlison at about 7:35. But right now, let's get to our top stories, please.
The Marc Cox short list.
It was a great reminder to the American people of just how blessed we all are, that the leader sitting in the Oval Office today is President Donald Trump and not President Kamala Harris. It was a helpful reminder of just what a travesty and a tragedy that would have been. It would have been the end of America.
He is not overstating that. Can you imagine if we just kept going down the same path of open borders that we had under Joe Biden? He's absolutely right.
Congresswoman Omar, I'm Miles Morrell with the Daily Caller News Foundation. Do you think more of your Democratic colleagues should be traveling to El Salvador to advocate on behalf of Rodrigo Garcia?
I think you should off.
Wow, Elon, the members of the squad are a little they're just a little defensive these days, right? How many of them are there now? Like several of them have been fired by the voters. Cori Bush isn't there to help them anymore. AOC probably is not having conversations with him these days because she's running for president. They're feeling kind of isolated these days, I think.
Does the government have pay phones? Like, how prehistoric is this technology? It's very prehistoric.
It's like Flintstones.
It's Flintstone level stuff.
You know what Elon Musk is talking there. Jesse Waters had a chance to talk to him yesterday. They're talking about the retirement system is still done on paper and it's stored in caves somewhere. I mean, he's not joking. This is unbelievable. Listen to this.
They get $50 million a year, congressional money, to give grants. These are things like, alpaca farming in Peru, improving the marketability of peas in Guatemala.
Alpaca farming? Is that what I heard?
Alpaca farming in Peru. So what part of what Doge uncovered, Jesse Waters had a bunch of the folks on there, including the guy famously known as Big Balls on his social media. And he looks like a 21-year-old kid, right? But clearly they're all very highly educated and capable, or Elon Musk wouldn't have hired them. And they were giving examples of these things that they found where he said the thing about it is it was just out of control. Like the money would be allocated for $50 million for a grant for alpaca farming in Peru, but there was no guarantee that all of the money, like their expenses would be half of it. Like the agency would keep half of it and say it was operating expenses, and then they'd send the other half of it for this grant in Peru. Listen to it from the guy who found it.
They get $50 million.
Hold on. That would be the wrong one. Here we go.
I think the Inter-American Foundation, IAF, is one of the agencies we visited where, they get $50 million a year, congressional money, to give grants. These are things like, alpaca farming in Peru, improving them.
That's a real example.
Yes, that's the real description. improving the marketability of peas in Guatemala.
Really?
Fruit jam. Yes.
What? Yeah.
So you might expect, in the private sector, a nonprofit to give, 80 to 90% of their money to grantees. In the case of IAF, that was 58%. So the other half goes towards management, travel.
What we're defined exactly, to use this example, is that even if you agreed with supporting alpaca farmers in Peru, actually most of the money never made it out of DC.
Mm-hmm.
It's going into the pockets of people in the neighborhood.
Think about that. This is how they were enriching themselves. They were handing out $50 million grants. Less than 60% of it was actually being used for whatever the grant was for. The administrative costs were over 40%.
So
43% people were getting bonuses, and they were using it to pay employees and highly paid administrators.
So who specifically was profiting from this? Who would be keeping that money?
Well, the IAF is the name that is the name of the agency. I don't know who was running it.
Those employees, you're saying?
Yes.
So did they, for this alpaca farming in Peru, for example, Congress clearly didn't have to sign off on this? It's just once the funding is allocated for one of these sectors of the federal government, they more or less have the only say in where the money is allocated. Is that correct?
It clearly was not being audited for what they found here, because I don't think anybody would put up with that. There's an organization out there. I did a story on this at Channel 4 years ago. There's an organization out there called Charity Navigator, where before you donate to a charity, you can go and see what their overhead costs are. And they generally get dinged if it's anything over 10%. Like, it should be below a certain percentage. If not, your donation's not mostly going to starving children in Africa or whatever the organization is. It's going in the pockets of an administrator that's making $200 million a year, or however much money they're paying their administrators. Maybe it's not 200 million, maybe it's 200,000. But anyway, those internal costs are something we've always paid attention to when it comes to charitable giving, but not government agencies. So that's part of what Doge is finding here. So that's why I wanted to play that for you. It's just, it's pretty eye-opening, isn't it? You work hard for your money, you ship off your taxes every year, and that's how these unsavory characters in D.C. have been spending it.
Well, we're supporting alpacas.
Exactly. Yeah. I've been to an alpaca farm. I'm just saying. Cute little animals.
Well, the alpacas should be very thankful for you, Mark, and your tax dollars.
Particularly the ones in Peru, apparently. Yeah. All right. Quick break here. I'll tell you more about this this guy who once wished for Donald Trump's assassination and how carbon just came back to bite him. We'll be right back.
The Marc Cox Morning Show
on 97.1 FM Talk. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you. Well, we're having that Friday morning volume, which is to say it's not bad. We've got light traffic throughout the entire area. Now, we're starting to see the beginnings of some volume, of course, on northbound 55, right around Weber Road, as you head into the reduced lane section of the roadwork area through there. But the rest of the area looks good. Missouri side, Illinois side, both have light volume at this hour. I'll keep you posted. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, I love to brag about companies that I have personal experience with. And, I've met and watched Matt Hayes of Home Shield Foundation Repairs do his work. It's pretty amazing what they've found at the homes of some of our listeners. In fact, as he sends me these videos every other day or so, when he goes out and he's helping people who have had soil erosion, maybe around their driveway or their backyard, if you got a poured patio back there, or your steps that have maybe pulled away from the house a little bit, that's a hazard. You don't have to get new steps or new concrete. You can level that up, and Matt can do that for you. So just talk to him about that. He'll come out. He'll give you a free estimate. They use their polyjacking material, and they get that stuff leveled up, and then you don't have to worry about cracking your toe when you're out there walking around barefoot in the summer months that we know that are coming. They have 100 5-star reviews on Google. They're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, And you can get every bit of information you need from them just by going to their website. It's that simple. All the videos are posted on there. You can see it for yourself. Just go to homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
This is attorney Todd Nissenholtz of Kaufman Townsley. When you're the victim of a serious car accident, not choosing the best lawyer will cost you. It costs you time, it costs you money. Settling too quickly with the insurance company. But here's the good news. Since you don't pay unless we win, you can afford the very best. And that's Kaufman Townsley. Call 314-500-5000 for a no-charge conversation. It costs you nothing to call, but may cost you everything if you don't. Call 314-500-5000.
Mizzou football is here to stay. After an undefeated home season and a second straight 10-win year, the Tigers are looking for more in 2025.
Eli and the boys have done it again.
With a top 10 transfer portal class and a strong home schedule highlighted by Kansas, Alabama, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, you don't want to miss out. Get your spot in line by joining the season ticket waitlist at mutigers.com/FB waitlist. MIZ.
Truth, justice, and the American way. This is the Marc Cox Morning Show. Catch anything you missed today by getting the show podcast at 971talk.com.
President Trump stood up for the Constitution's promise of colorblind equality before the law, so he terminated radical DEI preferencing and federal contracting and directed federal agencies to relentlessly combat private sector discrimination. DEI seeks to divide and pit Americans against each other based on immutable characteristics. President Trump put an end to it. In President Trump's America, individual dignity, hard work, and excellence are the only things that will determine if you get ahead.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Caroline Levitt. I continue to be impressed with the work that young lady's doing in the White House. And yesterday she had Stephen Miller up there, just chewing up and spitting out the media. Just at every turn when they ask him some stupid question, he chews them up and he spits them out. Like when they had the guts to ask him yesterday about Kamala Harris and her triumphant return, as the left called it, after her humiliating defeat back in November. I guess she's been hiding in a cave with cases of wine. That's all I can figure.
They really called it triumphant.
Oh, I'm paraphrasing, but they were all thrilled that she's back and she's encouraging people to fight. You have to fight. This is our time. Donald Trump doesn't own the White House. Again, paraphrasing. Because I can't make my voice that annoying. Here you go.
Well, I think it was a great reminder to the American people of just how blessed we all are that the leader sitting in the Oval Office today is President Donald Trump and not President Kamala Harris. It was a helpful reminder of just what a travesty and a tragedy that would have been. It would have been the end of America. And it gives me a chance to bring this whole thing home. If we continued on this road of radical regulation, choking off American energy, sending our supply chains to foreign countries, taxing our economy to death, pushing this cancerous woke ideology on our children, ending merit, ending scientific innovation, ending public safety, allowing, everyone goes to the stores these days, everything's locked up. criminals roam free. Law-abiding citizens under the previous administration were punished, while gangbangers were given red carpet treatment. Democrats, of course, are still giving gangbangers red carpet treatment. And then the border invasion. If those policies had continued, it would have been the end of the American Republic. And the only thing Americans want to hear from Kamala Harris is an apology for joining Joe Biden. And remember, she was the border czar, joining Joe Biden in aiding and abetting the invasion of our country.
I could listen to him all day. Stephen Miller.
It is interesting to think about where our country would be had she been president.
Oh, look how much better things are today after 3 months. 3 months.
How many more people would have come across the border illegally? How much more would inflation have ballooned?
So the media will still bend over backwards to try to defend Joe Biden's record. I don't know why. You know, at CNN, it's like they're a paid mouthpiece for him. Caitlin Collins got schooled yesterday by Doug Burgum, the Interior Secretary, who, of course, used to be a governor and ran for president, when she tried to claim, well, you know, Joe Biden didn't brag about it, but he had record outputs of oil when he was president. Listen to Burgum chew her up.
Yeah, we did see oil production at an all-time high under President Biden. He didn't tout it that often, but Secretary
Well,
Burgum...
he did because of the permitting that happened under President Trump. I mean, the all-time record oil production under Biden was because of Trump. It was in spite of Biden. I was running a state that was a natural resources state, and we were fighting the federal government. Federal government wasn't even holding the legally required lease sales during the Biden administration. First president since Harry Truman was Biden that didn't hold those lease sales. So for them to take credit, that was all because...
Well, they didn't take credit because it wasn't very popular with their voters. Secretary Burgum...
Affordable electricity is popular with everyone, and America needs to make sure we don't lose the thing. I mean, take a look what's happening in Europe right now with this 60 million people in a brownout blackout. We came very close to that happening in America because the Biden administration policy so dangerously eroded baseload in favor of having unreliable intermittent sources. And so we're just fortunate that we're not where Europe is right now, and we don't want to go there. Germany spent $500 billion to go chase a green path. And they ended up with electricity that cost 3 times as much, and they're producing 20% less.
Yeah, remember that? They were going to do away with all the nuclear power plants, and they didn't want they don't consider nuclear power clean energy. These people are criminally insane with their energy policies, or they were. And fortunately, we've got some common sense back running our energy sources in government these days, for sure. Coming up, we got to check in the markets to see what they're doing for you this morning. We'll check in with our friend Nicole Murray, and we'll have in other news for you at about 1:15. We'll be right back.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial # law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
All right, time for me to tell you about my friends at the Overhead Door Company. Overhead Door, stlewis.com is where you can get to their website. They do so much over there to make your home look better, to make your life easier, because if your door doesn't work, guess what? You are stuck. Go take a look at some of their beautiful garage doors. They're different collections they have. Maybe you like the more modern look. Maybe you like an antique look, like old barn doors. They've got them all for you, and they'll come over and give you a free estimate as well. But here's the number you need: 314-781-5200. That's 314-781-5200. That's the phone number to Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, because they're going to help you out with same-day service if your garage door is not working or if it's making a lot of weird sounds, right? 314-781-5200. You can trust them. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
If you're looking for the best eye care in St. Louis, look no further than the doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andrew Royer. Make your appointment today at yourEyeDoc.com or call 314-966-5000. Ophthalmology Associates.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need, while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrallNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
Good morning. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. 6:30 now and 61 degrees. Illinois State Police believe a medical emergency may have caused the helicopter crash last week that injured 3 people. The chopper crashed in Hartford during a training exercise. 2 of the 3 people have been released from the hospital. The other is in stable condition. ISP says the toxicology report came back negative for drugs and alcohol. Velda City's former police chief and city administrator has been indicted on multiple counts of wire fraud. Investigators say 51-year-old Daniel Paulino stole more than $313,000 from the city. According to court documents, he used the money for travel, cars, pool supplies, food, and drinks. In sports, it's must-win tonight for the Blues. They face Winnipeg at home for Game 6. That starts at 7. If they win, back in Winnipeg for Game 7 Sunday. Cards lost 9-1 against the Reds. They're at Busch Stadium tonight playing the Mets at 7:15. Battlehawks at home playing the Renegades at 7 tonight. City on the road tomorrow facing Seattle. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
I am looking at the slowdown on northbound 55 at Bayless in the construction zone. The left lane is blocked, and then they take down another lane. So it's a slow go through there this morning. But that appears to be the worst of it. 55 to the south of there is in fine shape. And no delays yet eastbound 70, 64, 40, and 44 into downtown. Quiet on the Illinois side as well. Looking good over there and on the bridges downtown. We are in good shape. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan of McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyhomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
All right, at Michael's Flooring Outlet, they have got such a fantastic collection and selection up there. I was a 4-time customer. I love going in the stores. If you need some motivation, maybe you need if you're like me, I have a hard time kind of envisioning what something's going to look like. I need to see it. And you go up there to Michael's and they've got all of these selections for you that you can take home if you need to and lay them down on your floor and your lighting and understand what it's going to look like if it's in your home. They'll come to you, which I think is great at Michael's. Mike Reynolds has been in the business a long time and has had 3 very successful locations. To do that, you have to have word of mouth. People don't keep coming back if they're not getting great customer service. We went with a engineered hardwood this last time. We love it. We got some carpeting in the bedrooms that's been great. It's a real low pile. It's not really a Berber, but it's perfect for us because we have a golden retriever who sheds a lot, and we need to run our Roomba every day just to keep up with it. So if you love good flooring, you need to get to Michael's Flooring Outlet. They're in Darden Prairie. They're in West St. Louis County off of Olive, and they're in Old Town St. Peter's. Online at igotfloor.com.
Your home deserves siding that's as tough as it is beautiful. At Lakeside Renovation and Design, we installed James Hardy siding, built to handle everything the St. Louis weather throws its way, rain, snow, or summer heat. Not only does it look amazing, but it also protects your home with long-lasting durability and low maintenance. Plus, with our expert team, you'll love the seamless installation process. Ready to give your home a stunning upgrade? Call Lakeside Renovation and Design today or visit lakesiderd.com. Protect your home with the siding that's built to last.
Experience the exhilarating atmosphere of a Cardinals game. Join the sea of red in the wave around the stadium. Feel the rush of excitement as a home run lights up the sky with fireworks, bringing the whole ballpark to their feet. Nothing beats the thrill of watching the Cards get the W with the final out at the plate. It's more than a game. It's an experience. Visit Cardinals.com for tickets and info. St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
Game tickets? Check.
A round of cold beers? Check.
Ballpark hot dogs? Check.
Baseball is back, and nothing beats a night out with the guys.
Or ladies.
At a Cardinals game.
From thrilling games and mouthwatering eats, the iconic ballpark energy, Busch Stadium is the ultimate spot for you and your crew to dive into America's favorite pastime.
Make your next night out the best one yet. Join us at Busch Stadium, where every hour is happy.
For tickets, visit Cardinals.com.
St. Louis Cardinals, for the Lou.
It's only scary because it's true. You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show. Find everything Marc Cox at 971talk.com/Cox.
All right, welcome back. So just remember, today's the day we will draw the winner. We'll announce the winner, I should say, of the Queen of Hearts drawing for Guns and Hoses. We do that every Friday morning at about 8:20. We love helping out our first responders as we collect, help them collect money each week that goes towards Guns and Hoses and then ultimately Backstoppers at the end of the year. This morning, we're going to be lucky enough to get Colonel Larry O'Toole, the executive director, in here, along with Greg Brown, the retired Eureka chief, Steve Olschwanger, of course, Maryland Heights, former Maryland Heights fire chief. They're all going to join us in studio in the 8 o'clock hour, and we are looking forward to getting them in there. All right, let's get to Nicole Murray, please. Nicole, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
I'm glad to hear that. I thought I heard we had some technical problems, but I'm glad we got you this morning. How you doing?
I'm like one of those days where like I'm in weekend mode already. I'm not even here.
Yes.
So I'm ready.
I watched one of your Instagram videos the other day where you were outside with Gordon. You guys are having a good time with those, aren't you?
I'm having a good time with them. I kind of have to bully the boys a little bit, but they go in with smiling faces. I'm very grateful.
You know, we do stuff like that around here. Kim helps put together some of those. It's just good for people to kind of get a glimpse behind the scenes sometimes of what's going on.
Well, technically now the guys with Gordon Deal, their show, they will wear costumes and they've put on like face masks and all sorts of stuff. Now, Mark, I've not done that to you yet.
So Nicole, like, what do you have on Gordon? Do you know, like, where there's a body buried or something? How are you coercing him to do this?
I bat my eyelashes.
Okay.
Or sometimes I'll pretend to be really like, really? No, but they are such good sports, and it's kind of good too. Like they've actually become part of the brainstorming of like what different video concepts could be about. Like Gordon actually was like, oh, we could do a video about this, and I'm just like, I am so proud of you right now.
Good for him.
So
I've only met Gordon once a few years ago when I was in Washington, D.C. He was up there as well and had a chance to meet him, but just seems like a great guy. So
I'm very grateful.
Awesome.
They definitely did not have to embrace this millennial coming in, making all these changes, but
hey,
you know,
it's the future, right? But I'm not wearing any costumes, Kim.
We'll
I just
see.
have to tell you that.
How about face paint?
Yeah, they've done that.
Yeah, they've done face paint.
Only if it would cover up the wrinkles. I'd be okay with that, I guess.
You know, when I come visit you guys one of these days, I don't want to hear any back talk about what we do for video content.
Okay, we'll look forward to that.
Yes.
What you got going on this morning?
All right. So right now, futures are moderately higher. Thursday, the Dow Industrials gained 83. The NASDAQ lost 264. The S&P 500 up 35. Longtime KSDK, that is Channel 5 journalist Kay Quinn, will be leaving the TV station in July. Quinn announced her impending departure on a post on X, saying she looks forward to the next chapter. Airport parking and shuttle service Superpark has lost its contract with St. Louis Lambert International Airport. That's according to a notice filed with the state. Transportation company SB Plus LLC, a Metropolis company, told the state that it will lay off 130 local workers effective July 1st because the shuttle service contract between the airport and the company will not be renewed. Coming later this morning is the April jobs report, which will give further clues on the state of the economy. Economists polled by Dow Jones anticipate payrolls grew by 133,000 last month. That is down sharply from the 228,000 added in March. They also expect the unemployment rate to hold steady at 4.2%. Data drops at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. China said it is evaluating the possibility of starting trade negotiations with the U.S. While Beijing appears to signal its readiness to engage in talks with the Trump administration, analysts caution that reaching a comprehensive deal will be a complex and time-consuming endeavor. Shark Ninja is recalling more than 2 million pressure cookers sold in the U.S. and Canada after consumers reported over 100 burn injuries spanning from a hazard that can cause hot food to spew. Those in possession of the cookers are urged to contact Shark Ninja for a free replacement lid. And finally, Nike has unveiled their newest release, Nike Air Force One's Low Dirty Triple White sneakers, which drop May 7th. And yes, it's just what it sounds like, white shoes that are already dirty. Based on the Instagram post, the pre-dirty shoes will become cleaner the more a person wears them.
That makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
So does that mean my old dirty white New Balance shoes are back in fashion?
Yeah, I guess that means that you're chic and you're just like so in style.
I do not generally take because I don't care, but I don't generally take clothing advice from my children. But a few years ago, my son told me, Dad, you got to stop buying white tennis shoes. You got to buy dark tennis shoes. So I have ever since. That's the only bit of advice I've taken from him. I still wear my cargo shorts and all that stuff when I want to.
But white tennis shoes are in. I feel like I've seen Brad, your son, wearing
they
white
may
tennis
be back now, but there was a time when he didn't like me wearing them. So I actually started buying dark tennis shoes.
Maybe it's because the dads tend to wear like the, is it the Keds? What is it, like the typical dad sneaker?
New Balance.
Is it New Balance?
Oh,
maybe it's an ugly white tennis shoe. Maybe you just need a more stylish shoe.
I'm gonna tell a story on myself. I probably shouldn't because I'll take a lot of grief for it. But when my dad was still alive, he's been gone a few years. He's been gone 11 years, 12 years now. I was at a shoe store and I was looking at their discount rack and I see these tennis shoes, right? And the only thing that I noticed about them is that the price was really good. And I take a wide shoe and I found my size and I took them home and I wore them the next day to a swim meet I was helping officiate. And my wife called me off of the swim deck and told me I had to take those shoes off. And I said, why? Well, they had Velcro straps to connect.
God.
She goes, those are old man shoes. You can't wear those. And I'm like, these aren't old man shoes. They were on sale.
Oh, that's why they were on sale. No one wanted them who was under the age of 80.
I took them off and I went to my dad's house and I'm like, hey, I just bought these shoes, but Michelle says that I shouldn't wear them. Would you like them? And he looked at me and he goes, those are old man shoes.
Or what my toddler wears. My 2-year-old wears Velcro shoes.
It didn't even dawn on me.
Oh
I just
my
thought
gosh, Mark.
It was a good deal.
Oh, that's
A good
sad.
deal. You're right.
Wow.
I'm
And
judging you.
The fact that you were looking at it just because it was a good deal is also kind of old manish of you.
Yes, very much so.
My grandma used to be, she loved my mom's mom loved Goodwill. And we would tell her how much we spent on a pair of pants. And she's like, I could get those for $4 at Goodwill. She was borderline offended if we would tell her how much we spent on like chapstick or anything, because she just thought of how much cheaper she could get it elsewhere.
That's me though, because I've got a nephew that works at an outlet store out there in Chesterfield Valley. I won't name which one.
Help your uncle.
But it's a shoe store. And the shoes are already reasonably priced, but I'll wait till he's working to get his discount to save myself another $5 or $6.
Mark, why don't you just cut coupons?
And I'm sure this will make your heart skip a beat. These dirtied shoes, they're like $130 for just
my
one pair.
gosh. What a joke. What's the I wash my shoes to try to get them whiter.
Yeah.
Well, I've been trying to. I'm not the best at actually keeping up with that.
To me, that's like buying a pair of jeans that have holes cut in them on purpose. Like half of them are missing.
Mine have holes
and you're
right
still
now.
paying $100 for them.
No, there was those pea stain jeans too. Like there's just so many weird fashion trends out there that I just don't fully understand. I guess it's to get attention. Like social media's got to be a part of it.
Well, we're talking about it, aren't we? For sure.
Yes. There you go.
Hey, Nicole, have a great weekend.
Thank you so much, guys.
All right. Yep. Thank you.
Cannot believe you wore Velcro shoes.
Only once.
Mark.
Only once.
I like his excuse was they were on sale.
They were on sale. I got a great deal
Michelle,
on
good
these.
job telling him to take their shoes off. If my husband ever came home with Velcro shoes.
I've never fessed up to that before, but it did.
And you waited
to
do
once.
it on the radio.
Yeah, well, honesty. What you see is what you get with me. I'm not the same guy, so that's what I did. I'll admit to it. Coming up, we're going to get to in other news, as if that wasn't bad enough. And Jim Carafano is going to join us in the next hour. We'll see what he thinks about this Mike Waltz departure from the Trump administration. We're back here in just a minute.
The Marc Cox Morning Show, on the air and streaming at 971talk.com. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning. Beautiful start to the day. And we just have a little bit of volume out there here and there. One of those areas is northbound 55, a little bit slow there, headed into the Bayless area of the work zone where we have a lane down or two in the construction zone. And some moderate volume appearing now, northbound 270 at Doherty Ferry. But other than that, we're good. Typical Friday morning with light traffic in general. Looking good on the Illinois side as well. There was a little bit of volume, Route 3 at Monsanto Avenue, but that's the worst of it. We look fine on the bridges downtown. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Let me tell you about my friends at the Show Me Institute. Here we were just this week talking about transparency in government and why you don't know where your tax dollars are being spent. We're finding it in the federal government. It's going on in the state government. Show Me Institute has long been a proponent of transparency in government, and that's what they work for all the time. They're a free market, individual liberty think tank based right here in Missouri, and we love what they do. They want this to be an income tax-free state, which is fantastic. Now, that didn't go anywhere in the legislature this year, but it's still a great idea. It's what we should be doing. In fact, they've got a guide up on the website right now, showmeinstitute.org, where you can see a free market guide for Missouri municipalities and how different cities tax in different ways. If you don't understand this, it can affect where you choose to live if you're thinking about moving. So you can use the Show Me Institute just like I do for great information on these things. Just go to showmeinstitute.org.
The Cards, the Mets.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 7:15. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
Marc Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, May 20th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Here are Bob and Thomas with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and worried about the market volatility and losses at this stage in your life? Would you like to learn why linking to the market is much safer than owning the market?
Would you like to learn how to automatically lock in your market gains every year without having to sell? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any future losses? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Protect your retirement nest egg and join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw, at the Frontenac Hilton on Tuesday, May 20th at 6:30 p.m. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
The Annie Fry Show.
I don't think I ever really bought into the 51st state idea.
He's going to hurt them economically. And not because he hates them, but because he's like, these deals aren't good. They've never been good for us.
He's balancing it out.
Weekdays from noon to 3. 100-mile-per-hour discussion starters, even in heavy traffic. This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
What's happening?
Go, you know the thing.
What the hell is going on?
In other news.
Well, if Luigi Mangione, the guy who accused of murdering the United Healthcare CEO in New York, needed more attention, now there's a musical about him that's going to debut in June 13th in San Francisco. This musical is going to be debuting. It will also feature Sean Diddy Combs and Sam Bankman-Fried as characters. The entire run, they're saying, is already sold out.
So I'm assuming it paints him in some sort of a altruistic light for what he did by killing a healthcare executive. Do we have any idea what the content of the play is? Like, if it's painting him as a deranged criminal, I'm fine with it. But if you're trying to just get empathy for this idiot, come on.
You would think that, but then if Sean Diddy Combs' character is in there, I couldn't figure that out.
Yeah,
so
no kidding.
I don't know.
Says he navigates friendship, justice, and the absurdity of viral fame, all with real life cellmates by his side.
I was going to say,
cellmates. That's
well, that's why, because they've all been in the same prison.
Okay, all right. I start to see the storyline a little more. I still don't think it's necessary, but
agreed.
Wow. I was watching this coverage of this story about John Elway and his business partner who died. And, it's just tragic. But to me, what was more tragic is when I first saw the headlines, there was a suggestion that John Elway did something wrong here. And that's apparently not the case. And it's never been the case. They were driving a golf cart, and the guy, I don't know what the circumstances were. They hit a speed bump or whatever, and his buddy fell off the back. The Spurbeck guy, Jeff Spurbeck, who was his agent and good friend, always apparently just devastated by all this.
I can imagine.
He fell at, I guess they were doing about 20 miles an hour on this golf cart going somewhere. These golf cart communities, there are several over there near Cottleville now, not far from where I live. We don't live close enough to do that if we wanted to. But because there's just no easy path to get over there. But there are golf carts all over the place. You have to watch out for them. And they can go 15 or 20 miles an hour easily on a straightaway. So you could easily, I think people underestimate the danger there, but maybe this is an example of why you got to be so careful with those.
Yeah, I almost got hit by a golf cart yesterday at Ted Drew's.
No kidding. Somebody on the hill driving their car. They ought to walk. They're going to eat that many calories. They should walk to Ted Drew's and get ice cream.
That would be St. Louis Hills.
St. Louis Hills. I'm sorry. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Did you guys see what's going on here with the internet going back and forth over whether 100 men could fight a gorilla? Who would win?
Who asked me about that yesterday? You were out there.
We were all talking about it yesterday or the day before.
So, Radio Jake asked me about that. And I'm like, oh, that's stupid. The gorilla would win.
Sue, you have a lot of thoughts on this, I feel like.
Women do not have discussions like this. Never have Kim and I or any female and I said, do you think a group of us could take out a gorilla?
So true.
Or any other animal. It's just amazing to me that men discuss this like it's a thing.
But think about this. Think back to prehistoric times when people would hunt mastodons and things like that. They had spears and all that. But what this scenario was, could 100 unarmed men overpower a full-size silverback gorilla? And the answer is no, for this reason. Because when the first 2 or 3 who were brave enough to go in first came back with broken skulls and arms and legs, the rest of them would run off. I know exactly what would happen.
If you had 100 men who truly were brave enough to fight and they were all going to be in on this, maybe they would stand a chance. Maybe.
No way.
These gorillas are 400 pounds. It says they're 5 to 10 times stronger than humans. So you'd have to have some of the guys like jumping on the gorilla's back. And I don't know.
I'm not sure. I don't think.
I'd probably bet on the gorilla.
Is everybody saying gorilla here?
Gorilla.
Yes.
I'm the 100 men.
Oh, no kidding.
And it's because, like, if we're going off who's scared, like you're saying the men will be scared.
Yes.
A gorilla would not engage with 100 humans. That's just.
But if it's in fight or flight mode, it might.
Same
but
with
if it
humans,
feels threatened.
So the scenario is no weapons and everybody's in it to like kill. Like the 100 men are in it to kill the gorilla. The gorilla's in it to kill 100 men. I'm saying 100 men.
Huh. Okay. All right.
So I vote 100 women. We could battle the gorilla.
I vote. I don't want to think about it.
Speaking of killing, we have time to get to this last story now. I love this. Sammy Hagar is opening his residency in Vegas this week. And the fact that I'm not there is one of the more depressing things in my life, because I would love to go to Vegas, number one, because I love Vegas. I should be more like Mark Reardon and just go out there every other weekend. But I'd love to be there to see Sammy Hagar he's continuing his Best of Both Worlds tour with Van Halen music, which you may or may not know is my favorite music in the world. And so Sammy's doing a lot of interviews to promote the fact that he's doing his residency in Vegas. And one of the ones he did this week, they asked him about the tour they did back in 2002 with David Lee Roth. So they did this Sam and Dave tour where Sammy would go sing the Sammy songs and Dave would go sing the Dave songs of Van Halen. And he said to the Rolling Stone, I wanted to break the guy's neck at one point. So that's the headline. Sammy Hagar wanted to kill David Lee Roth during this tour. But when you read it, that's not real.
That's always how
it wasn't really threatening violence, but he said that the guy's just unpredictable. He wouldn't show up on time.
Of course.
And he was supposed to be sometimes he was the first act and I was coming out second. And when he wouldn't show up, we had to turn everything around and I had to go out first. And he says it was a disaster and I would never, ever consider anything like that again.
You know how much animosity there probably is with these bands that you just don't see between musicians.
I'm sure.
I mean, they work closely and it's, high stress. And
I want to know, what does a Marc Cox Vegas trip look like?
What happens there would stay there. Let's put it that way.
That's fair.
But it would be a lot of fun, Drew. I'll let you know if that ever happens.
Right.
Hey, one other story I saw that was kind of cool. This is for the third year in a row. Silver Dollar City in Branson has taken the top spot as the best theme park in the nation. This is from USA Today's Reader's Choice Awards.
I haven't been to every theme park in the nation, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Really?
It's a good one.
It's such an elevation over anything you would ever find at a Six Flags.
What about the one in Ohio?
Even
What's
at Kings Island. I've been to Kings Island, the one at Cedar Point, which is up north there. I've been to all of those, and the Branson, it's just a cut above.
What's better about it?
It's clean. It's well kept. The maintenance is kept up. The people are nice. It's just everything. People seem to want to be there, the workers, unlike some of these other theme parks I've been to.
They celebrated by raising ticket prices.
Well, after they've just been named the top theme park in the nation, maybe they can raise ticket prices again.
This is true. Hey, coming up, we're going to talk to Congressman Eric Burlison on the Capitol beat at 7:35.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint by a lot, backed with our 25-year transferable warranty. Paint a house, shield a home. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, steel, aluminum, cedar, and more. We are the only coating company selected by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where all 3 episodes concentrate on unpainted brick. If you maintain or own a business with a tired-looking building, you owe it to yourself to look at Rhino Shield and our beautifully durable color schemes. Evaluations are free. We're making buildings pop and be noticed again, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks, exceeding expectations every day with our products, people, and performance. Now is the time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or go to 877-25rhino.com and see how honest and transparent we really are. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
While you start to think spring, that might mean a move is in your future, but the question is, when is the right time to buy? Well, I go to my friend Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage to ask that question. Stewie, how do buyers beat the competition when they're looking to buy a new home?
All right, Annie, we're going to give you 3 big bullets. Number 1, get the bagel loan, no closing costs. If you don't have to pay those closing costs, add it to the bid, you'll beat all the other offers. Number 2, tell the seller you're going to close in 10 days. 10 days, most lenders take 30 days just to get the loan approved. He's going to take your offer over everybody else's right away. Number 3, we give you the power of the pre-approval in your hands. You can access our portal anytime you want and generate your own pre-approval letter. Don't wait for the lender. You can make it happen yourself.
Well, the smart move starts by calling or texting my friend Stewie at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. He just gave you those 3 tips to smart buying to beat the competition. Google the bagel loan for more information. NMLS number 226715.
Well, it seems it was just, I think just about a year ago, last May, when I was attacked by those cicadas. It was a planned attack. I just completely believe it. And I think a couple of them did get up into my brain, but I can still hear them making that noise. It's worse than a gnat. No, again, air conditioning. Mother's Day is coming up. So how about if you're in need of an air conditioner and you want to keep your better half nice and cool and everybody's tempers down in the heat and live in a comfortable environment without cicadas in your head like mine, call me Bart Inman. One easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Or on the internet, bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
The Trump budget plan. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. It'll be delivered today to Congress, where Republicans are already working on what President Trump calls one big, beautiful bill to fund his agenda.
I think we'll get really close to the end. Our number one goal is make sure no tax increases at a very challenging time.
That's GOP Congressman Mark Herodopoulos. The Trump budget aims to cut $160 billion in non-defense spending. And as for Democrats' claims that Republicans are going to cut key programs like Medicaid.
What we're not going to do is allow illegal aliens to get Medicaid. We're not going to allow people who are able-bodied to go in and be on the welfare system. We need to make sure also people who are truly qualified are on there. A lot of people game the system.
Now, President Trump just posted on Truth Social that he's going to take away Harvard's tax-exempt status, writing, "It's what they deserve." After the university filed a lawsuit trying to block the president cutting off Harvard's federal funding, the president accused the university of allowing rampant anti-Semitism on campus after anti-Israel Gaza war protests. Last night, President Trump addressed graduates at the University of Alabama.
It is clear to see the next chapter of the American story will not be written by the Harvard Crimson. It will be written by you, the Crimson Tide.
Now, the president signed another executive order that takes away federal funding from something else. Public broadcasting, PBS TV and National Public Radio, accusing them of using taxpayer money to spread radical woke propaganda disguised as news. Mike Waltz is out as national security advisor, but Vice President Vance tells Fox it's not a firing.
He is being made ambassador to the United Nations, which, of course, is a Senate-confirmed position. I think he can make a good argument that it's a promotion.
Waltz got a lot of scrutiny for inadvertently letting a journalist join a Signal group chat discussing U.S. military action in Yemen. A singer-songwriter has died.
I kissed the girl.
That's the song Jill Sabule is best known for from 30 years ago. Yesterday, Sabule was killed in a house fire in Woodbury, Minnesota. She was 66. America's listening to Fox News.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Good morning. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk. A really pretty start to this Friday. Sun is up here in downtown St. Louis, 61 degrees at 7:03. A new report finds 2024 was the deadliest year for pedestrians in both St. Louis City and county. According to this report from TrailNet, listen to this. There was a 187% increase in pedestrian fatalities in the city last year and a 24% jump in the county. Grand Boulevard was determined to be among the most dangerous streets in St. Louis. In the Metro East, more than 100 employees with Hubbell Wigman will soon be out of a job. The manufacturing company based out of Freeburg announced plans to close next year. The layoffs will begin in September. 110 employees are unfortunately expected to lose their jobs. The Ferguson Police Department is giving teens and young adults a behind-the-scenes look at policing. Starting this month, young men and women between the ages of 14 and 20 can attend a class that will explore careers in policing and also offer an understanding of what policing looks like in their community. One of the department's sergeants says this is an opportunity to impact the public's perception of policing. 7:04, 61 degrees, 97.1 FM Talk. In sports, downtown St. Louis will be rowdy again tonight. That's because the Blues are facing Winnipeg for Game 6 tonight at 7. Of course, this being a home game. This is a must-win for the Blues. Now, if they win, here's what happened. They'll be going back to Winnipeg for Game 7 coming up on Sunday. Well, unfortunately, the Cardinals lost 9-1 against the Reds yesterday to wrap up the series. Tonight, back at Busch Stadium to kick off a 3-game series with the Mets. First pitch, 7:15. I told you this is a crazy night because we also had the Battlehawks at home tonight playing the Renegades again. Yes, we just played them mid-April. Kickoff for that game is 7 o'clock. City will be on the road playing Seattle tomorrow at 9:30. Also, it's a big day tomorrow because it is the Kentucky Derby. 61 degrees at 7:05. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you. We look great on the roads on this Friday. Now, northbound 55 is a little bit slow at Bayless in the construction zone, but right now that's it. Even northbound 270 looks good at this hour. Quiet through North County, and it's also quiet on the Illinois side. If you are driving over there or heading in on any of the bridges downtown, it's a good run. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
We are in a funky little weather pattern as a small cutoff low pressure system gets stuck over the bi-state region. A mix of clouds and sunshine, a couple of showers during the afternoon hours primarily, 69 for the high. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy, 51. Saturday, unsettled skies, couple of showers, but also a fair share of dry time, 65. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
We're at 7:06 right now, 61 degrees. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show or any other show on 97.1 FM Talk anytime or anywhere by downloading the free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
The Marc Cox Morning Show.
I want to compliment your show on how fair and level-headed everything you guys talk about.
Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
Maybe what we need from a conservative standpoint is
the Marc Cox Morning Show.
I respect that. We don't agree. Listen to both sides.
This,
let's get it on,
is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Good morning to you. You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Mark, and here alongside Kim St. Ange and Ethan Bright. And Drew is helping us out this morning as well. We appreciate that. Got lots to get to for you before the end of the show today, so don't miss a minute of it. Next hour, we are going to do our Queen of Hearts drawing for Guns and Hoses at about 8:20. We have got Chad Pergram from Fox News joining us at about 8:35 because he is going to be the talking about these GOP leaders and their priorities for the big, beautiful bill that the president's trying to negotiate with them right now to try to get that thing done. Maybe some surprises in there before this is all over with. And we're also going to talk about people's perceptions of downtown St. Louis and versus some development that is going on down here. Like, if you don't live downtown, if you don't work downtown, you might not realize it, but there are people investing pretty large amounts of money downtown, and they claim that they're doing that successfully, particularly along Washington Avenue. I mean, a lot of the stories we hear are of, fights or after-hour parties or something like that outside of bars and restaurants down here. But this is maybe a good trend, and we're going to talk to one of the local developers coming up here at about 8 a.m. this morning, in about an hour from right now. So I promise you we'll get to all of that for you still ahead this morning. I do want to mention on our Feed Our First Responders, you have an opportunity to go online and nominate a first responder that you admire. It can be a police officer, might be a firefighter, EMS worker, somebody does a good job every day. They go put their life on the line for us, and we'll select a winner each month. Grillmaster Tony, grillmastertony.com, prepares the food, and we go feed them. We just drop the food off. I'll take it personally and Oftentimes, Tony goes with me to deliver it. We were at Chesterfield Police Department this past week to drop off some food, and we'll do that again at the end of the month of May. So all you got to do is go to 971talk.com/contests, and you'll find the link there that you just fill out the information and submit it, and then we will select a winner. How about that? All right, right now, Ethan, let's get to our short list, please.
The Marc Cox short list.
They get $50 million a year, congressional money, to give grants. These are things like, alpaca farming in Peru, improving the marketability of peas in Guatemala.
Ooh, I know I need to know how they market peas in Guatemala. Just more examples of government waste uncovered by Elon Musk and his Doge team.
The economy shrank. First time in 3 years. People are pointing to the tariff policy. There are people looking at their 401ks that are worried.
Yeah. The Joe Biden economy, that would be from the first quarter there, Brett Baer. He was talking to Vice President J.D. Vance last night on his show.
The polls show Trump has the lowest 100-day approval rating since they started polling.
There's a poll out today that has your approval rating lower than any other congressional leader. Are you concerned that you may be a liability for your party?
Polls come and go. Our party is united.
Chuck Schumer's like, he's got the worst polls ever. What about your poll? Polls come and go. This is Chuck Schumer encapsulated for you.
No, but you started the conversation, right?
Well, I don't have anything to say. I don't have any comment.
Okay.
Yeah, how about that? A confrontation with a Tesla vandal that happened right here in town. We don't know the name of the Tesla owner, although if you're listening, I would absolutely love to hear from you. Call me. We don't know the name of the Tesla owner, but this is going viral on the X this morning because of how the guy handled it. He sees this guy because, I don't know if you're a Tesla vandal, tune out for a minute. Teslas have cameras at every angle. So when you approach a Tesla, even if you've just parked next to it, the car records you standing there while you're getting in your car. So if you decide to vandalize a Tesla, there are images of you from 5 different cameras, front, back, up, down, everything. There's no way you can approach a Tesla without being on video. And these morons, these left-wing lunatics, either don't know that or they don't care. So this happened in Kirkwood, and again, there's no relevance here for me on the somebody retweeted this, and therefore I don't know where it happened is the problem for me to tell you. Well, it happened somewhere in Kirkwood. I don't even know when it happened, but the Cybertruck owner comes by and he sees this sticker on his car with curse words on it that I can't repeat on the radio. And he reviews the video of his truck and he sees this guy, older guy, looks like a professor, has the little British cap on his head, carrying a book bag, a valet case on his shoulder. And he walks up and he slaps this sticker on the side of the Tesla. So the Tesla owner follows him into a restaurant and confronts him. And the guy's so dumb that he completely denies that he knows what the guy's talking about. And then he suddenly gets embarrassed and has no comment. That's who they're like keyboard warriors. They don't want to confront the owner of the Tesla. They just want to vandalize the Tesla and walk away. And somehow it makes them feel like bigger people. Listen to this interaction that happened over in Kirkwood. Here we go.
Hey, how you doing? Good. Yeah? You like putting stickers on cars?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't? Yeah, I got a video of you. You don't know?
No.
Okay. That's fascinating. I'm curious what your motive is here, because like I get in the car with my kids. There's curse words people are putting on my car.
All right.
I got you on video. Twice.
All right.
Twice.
I don't have anything to say about it.
You should, man. At least defend your position. Like, be a man, have a debate with me. You don't want to continue the conversation?
No,
but you started the conversation, right?
Well, I don't have anything to say. I don't have any comment.
Okay.
So then he follows the guy outside of the restaurant and confronts him again.
You started it, so I'm just trying to answer your question. You made a statement, you put something on my car, and now you don't want to discuss it.
Yeah, and then he starts playing music of the guy talking to police. Now, here's the truth of this situation. I did find this on a post by somebody named Christian Kirk. I don't know if Christian Kirk is the owner of the car or if he's just the one that reposted the video. But what he says on this post is that the Kirkwood police would not press charges against this guy. And they said because the local prosecutor was unlikely to charge him because there was no physical damage to the car. Have you ever tried to get a sticker off the side of your car? You can damage the paint and all kinds of things.
Even if there's no damage, it's not trespassing, but wouldn't there be something that you could charge?
Vandalism, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, because that's still your property that they're doing something to.
Yeah, I don't know the politics of the prosecutor down in Kirkwood, but there's video here of three Kirkwood police officers confronting this guy. Apparently, he was not arrested or ticketed, according to what I'm able to read here. I recognize those apartments in the background in downtown Kirkwood there, right off of where Lindbergh goes past the railroad tracks. You can see those apartments in the background.
The ones in the main area with all
so
the restaurants?
So I don't know. I'm pretty sure those are the apartments I can see in the background of this video. I will try to share it to my X page so that you guys can see it.
Yeah, blast this guy's face
Maybe
everywhere.
somebody will recognize this idiot and then and then he will go viral. I'll retweet this thing so that people can see it. And he looks like a college professor, or at least he's trying to, and he doesn't have the guts to admit what he's just been caught doing on camera. And I'd love to know. I mean, if you live in Kirkwood, if you're a police officer in Kirkwood, you're hearing this, email me or something. Let me know what the status is. I'd love to know why these people can get away with this, but don't have the courage to even argue for their convictions. Well, I don't like Elon Musk, so I did that. I mean, he didn't even have the guts to say that when confronted. They're gutless is what they are. It just irritates me to no end. The ones I see standing outside the Tesla dealership. Yeah, you're free to go out there and protest all you want under the First Amendment. But when you start damaging somebody else's car, that crosses the line. All right, quick break here. We'll get to Jim Carafano of Heritage coming up here shortly. Bottom of the hour, it is the Capitol Beat with Congressman Eric Burlison, who's actually back in Missouri today, meeting with some of his constituents. We're going to talk to him at 7:35.
The Marc Cox Morning Show
on 97.1 FM Talk. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning. Beautiful start to the day. And we look great on the roads. Typical Friday morning. Eastbound 70, 64, 40, 44, all looking good. We've even thinned out on northbound 55 at Bayless. And if you are headed in from Illinois, things look great downtown. Really no problems there. That's traffic. Yeah, really. I was going to say, oh, that's traffic. Then I looked on the Illinois side, and it really does look good. So we are in wonderful shape. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, let me tell you a little bit about my friends at the at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, because they do fantastic work at Overhead Door. They are hiring right now, I understand. If you are have any skill set there in that category, they would be happy to talk to you about that. The Overhead Door Company is a fantastic company to work for. They've been around almost 100 years. Next year, they'll celebrate their 100th year in business. So whatever you need, if you need a repair, if you need a new garage door, you can go to overhead door, stlewis.com and find out all those details. Beautiful collection of garage doors. Maybe your door is just squeaking and creaking and you're not quite sure what's going on with it. When mine broke, it was that big spring that helps lift the door up because some of these doors are really heavy. Call Overhead Door Company, let them come out and take care of that for you, and they will be there the same day. They do same-day service at the Overhead Door Company. Check them out online at overheaddoorstlouis.com.
If you or someone you know suffered any injuries involving a deployed airbag, you could be entitled to compensation. Morgan & Morgan has already recovered millions. Get America's largest injury law firm fighting for you.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Is your Generac home standby generator ready for the next outage? Are you overdue for annual maintenance? Schedule an inspection today with Generator Supercenter and ensure your Generac generator is ready when you need it most. Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-million. That's 314-9 all zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
You ask a lot of your liver, so give it the support it needs with Active Liver. Go to NordicuSA.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. New you, new Nordic.
Working hard to pay for everyone else's entitlements. This is the Marc Cox Morning Show. Find everything Marc Cox at 971talk.com/Cox.
So I just confirmed the owner of that Tesla is a guy named Christian Kirk, and there's not contact information for him on here, unfortunately. But I'm going to have to try to get a hold of this guy, see if we can get him on the show talking about this, because he's the one that posted this in a forum of Tesla Cybertruck owners, and that's where this came from. So again, maybe if we can get him, or if you know him, we can get him on the air talking about when this happened and if it's true that no charges are going to be filed against this guy. Here's what I would think the prosecutor should do. Tell the guy, I will charge you unless you can figure out how to get the sticker off of that car without damaging it. Because there's nothing more irritating. I'll be honest with you. It's been a long time since this happened to me, but I know it happened to Carl here in our parking garage one time. They put an orange sticker on his car claiming he parked in a wrong spot. It wasn't the building people that did it. It was some jerk in the garage that had his preferred spot and it wasn't reserved, but Carl parked there, and they stuck this ugly orange sticker on his window. And you can hardly get those things off. Like you use Goo Gone and all that other stuff, and it still tends to stay on there. So anyway, I'm going to try to get a hold of this guy and see if I can get him on the show here, since we have figured out his name now, and we'll see how that works out. All right, let's get to Jim Carafano, please.
You know, I was born in the South. South Bronx.
All right, Jim, happy Friday, my friend. How are you?
I am living the dream. And you?
I am doing very well, I have to tell you. I couldn't be better. I saw a headline yesterday. Maybe you can put this in perspective for me, because I don't think most people walk around thinking about these things. But I saw a headline that India and Pakistan are about to go to war with each other again. Is this true?
Well, you know, I often tell people I'm not always right, because when I do my analysis, I always discount the stupid, ridiculous, dumb options.
Okay.
And, you know, and sometimes people take that. There is no reason, there's no logical reason for India and Pakistan to go to war with each other. I understand, you know, there was a big terrorist attack in India. It was horrible. It makes perfect sense for the Indians to, you know, sound very aggressive and, you know, but they don't actually going to war with Pakistan doesn't do anything for them. Having said that, you know, who knows? But here's what I will absolutely 1,000%. The possibility of this going nuclear, because, you know, both of them have nuclear weapons, is less than zero.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I didn't know why it was heating up right now in the middle of all this other stuff that's going on. So
it's because of the big terrorist attack in Kashmir. It was very, very horrible. It was kind of almost like an October 7th thing, just a bunch of people out picnicking, and then these terrorists came in, they start shooting and killing people. I don't remember the exact number that died, but it was, but it was a major terrorist attack in the Kashmir part of India. And the Indian government has to react and respond to those things. And they did things like they basically said all Pakistanis have to leave the country. I mean, so it's gotten very aggressive, and both sides have put troops on the border. But said, actually going to war doesn't really serve the interests of either of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the meantime, Mike Waltz has been unceremoniously removed from his position, but they're going to move him to the UN. I've heard that the administration's kind of defended it as well. He's not really being fired; he's just being relocated. But this has got to be connected to this signal controversy, right?
I'm not sure. When they write the history books, this will be seen as a promotion. This is a cabinet level position. Yeah. It's a major thing. So, and to be honest people don't understand the National Security Council and the role of National Security Advisor. Everybody thinks that the person in there is only successful if they're, Henry Kissinger. And that's not right, particularly for Trump. And what people really don't understand is this is a cabinet run level government. Nobody is trying to run the government from the White House. The president has these people, and they come in the room and he says, go forth and do this, and they do. So this role of the National Security Council, like being the genius behind the thing and coordinating everything, that's not necessary for Donald Trump. When we created the National Security Council to get better integration, but what it actually meant was the cabinet members would come into the White House and they would sit down with the President of the United States, Dwight Eisenhower, and they say, okay, this is what we're going to do. And then they would go out and do that. This thing of devolving into, we're going to bring all the people in the White House and then they're just going to tell everybody what to do. And then they're just, basically executors, which is kind of how it ran under Biden and Obama. That's not necessary for Trump. And so we make way too much a big deal about who's actually sitting in that job. And to be honest with you, it's a paper pusher job. And so being in the UN is actually a much more rewarding and higher profile and actually impactful job than being the National Security Advisor.
I'm pretty sure Mike Waltz supported airstrikes against Iran. There's these continued nuclear negotiations between Iran and the United States. Some have talked about, should we be bombing Iran? What do you think about all that?
Well, it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what Donald Trump thinks. And Donald Trump has no interest in bombing Iran, which is why we have seen, honestly, across the government, the more aggressive people. I mean, if you're like, I'm pro-Israel to the hilt and Iran can have a nuclear weapon, you are fine. But they're a little risk avert. They don't really want kind of the John Bolton guys in here. We just need to bomb Iran and get this over with, because that's not where Donald Trump is.
Yeah, well, I guess, I see that they're making some progress, apparently. Is there any reason to ever trust what comes out of China? Isn't it sort of like Russia? I mean, they say, oh, we're not talking to the Americans. They've reached out to us a number of times. Right. And the administration says, right, of course we're talking to them.
Right. Look, I mean, the Chinese are, what I admire about the Chinese, not in a good way, but they are relentless in the pursuit of their goal. They are the Terminator. But as the Terminator would only go out and kill people, the Chinese are happy. Can I bribe you? Fine. Can I threaten you? Fine. Yeah. Can we cut a deal? Fine. As long as the Chinese are moving forward, they don't really care how they do it, and they're happy to change up their strategy all the time. And yeah, of course you can't trust them because they're just relentless in the pursuit of their goal. And their ultimate goal is China is better off in the world if America's not in the world.
Yep, that's true. Jim, have yourself a great weekend, my friend. Sounds beautiful wherever you are. I can hear birds chirping.
I know it is kind of cool. I love spring.
All right, we'll talk next week. Thanks.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right,
yep, Jim Carafano there from Heritage. I love to get his take on this stuff. Coming up, Congressman Eric Burlison is going to join us as well on today's Capitol Beat, and we'll get you an update on how they're spending your money up there in D.C. Stay tuned.
I'm Danny Cohn, President and CEO of the Jewish Federation of St. Louis. This past week, the Jewish holiday of Yom HaShoah commemorated the 80th anniversary of the Holocaust and remembered the 6 million Jews who were murdered by the Nazis in World War II. As Jews, when we recall the atrocities of the Holocaust, we say, never again. This is not a slogan or a tagline. It's a responsibility we all share to prevent the systematic hatred from going unchecked. When we work together to fight against prejudice and bigotry towards everyone, we create a better community for everyone.
Hey, I have to tell you about the picks of the month from my friends out at Macadoodles, because this is, I'm telling you, you got to get out there. It's right out there at Bryan and Feisey Roads. And I was out there with Mike the other day, the owner, Mike McKenna. Stop and say hi and say, I want to see Marc Cox's bourbon picks. If you are a fan of Woodford Reserve, Mike is taking his double oaked and marking it way down. I would guess it's the best price you're going to find in the greater St. Louis area. It's right there on the shelf. It's the Woodford Reserve Double Oaked, which is, again, very reliable and great pour. And something new, a Missouri bourbon that we picked out this time, a Ben Holiday. This is the soft red wheat Rick House proof. It's delicious. It's strong because it is Rick House proof. It's straight from the barrel. But if you love Ben Holiday, go check those out. They're both marked down to fantastic prices. If you like bourbon, if you like tequila, rum, vodka, wine, they've got a huge selection at Macadoodles. Bryan and Feisey Road. Check them out at macadoodles.com.
Mizzou football is here to stay. After an undefeated home season and a second straight 10-win year, the Tigers are looking for more in 2025.
Eli and the boys have done it again.
With a top 10 transfer portal class and a strong home schedule highlighted by Kansas, Alabama, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, you don't want to miss out. Get your spot in line by joining the season ticket waitlist at mutigers.com/FB waitlist. MIZ.
Good morning. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk. 61 degrees at 7:31. Illinois State Police now believe a medical emergency may have caused the helicopter crash last week that injured 3 people. The chopper crashed in Hartford during a training exercise. 2 of the 3 people on board have been released from the hospital, the other in stable condition. ISP says the toxicology report came back negative for both drugs and alcohol. Velda City's former police chief and city administrator has been indicted on multiple counts of wire fraud. Investigators say 51-year-old Daniel Paulino stole more than $313,000 from the city. According to court documents, Paulino used the money for travel, cars, pool supplies, food, and drinks. In sports, Blues face Winnipeg at home for Game 6 tonight at 7 o'clock. It's a must-win. Cardinals lost to the Reds yesterday. They're back at Busch Stadium playing the Mets tonight, 7:15. Tonight, Battlehawks at home playing the Renegades at 7 o'clock. City will be on the road playing Seattle tomorrow at 9:30. Kentucky Derby also going on tomorrow. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
What a great commute we're having this morning, and it's beautiful so far this morning weather-wise. We look great on northbound 55 down south, headed into downtown. Periodically, we will see some moderate volume around Bayless. Northbound 270, some moderate volume at Manchester. And we've got a little bit of a slowdown westbound on 44 at the 55 split downtown. But for the most part, we look great. 70 looks great from Warrenton into the city. Quiet on the Illinois side and on the bridges there. There is a little bit of a slowdown southbound Lindbergh, headed in the Frontenac area down through 6440. And that's it. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk. I'll tell you what, some of us have saved money for retirement. Some have saved more, some have saved less. But the key here is, do you know what to do and all the tricks within the system once you are close to retirement or in it? Oh, and that's the key. That's why I think it's such a great idea that financial and tax architects put on a class. It's a 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. That way you can kind of figure out, at least get a glimpse of how the system works. And they hold these classes at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. You learn about reducing your taxes, about maximizing Social Security, all of that. Now, they do this for free, but they want you to bring 3 canned goods for a St. Louis Crisis Nursery, which I love. Now, there are still a few openings for classes this month. What do you have to lose? Register. You call 314-947-2012, 314-947-2012.
The Cards, the Mets.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 7:15. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
All lawmakers do is tax and spend. That's why Missouri voters passed the Hancock Amendment in 1980 to place a limit on what the government can do with your money. But the Hancock Amendment is outdated. It hasn't provided a taxpayer refund since 1999 and probably won't without reform. That's why Missouri needs a taxpayer Bill of Rights. Colorado has one, and taxpayers there have received more than $8 billion in refunds. It's simple. There should be limits on government spending and refunds when there's a surplus in the state budget. A taxpayer Bill of Rights constitutional amendment would help limit the growth of government. Missouri's budget has nearly doubled in the past 5 years, yet the state lags far behind states like Colorado in economic growth. The Hancock Amendment was supposed to protect taxpayers. Now it's time for an update and a taxpayer Bill of Rights. After all, it's your money. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Marc Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, May 20th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Here are Bob and Thomas with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and worried about the market volatility and losses at this stage in your life? Would you like to learn why linking to the market is much safer than owning the market?
Would you like to learn how to automatically lock in your market gains every year without having to sell? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any future losses? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Protect your retirement nest egg and join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw, at the Frontenac Hilton on Tuesday, May 20th at 6:30 p.m. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
The Diamond Shop graduation sale. All watches are 20% off, even Movado. Men's jewelry is 40% off. 40% off Pirelli G and gold fashion jewelry. Everything else is 30% off. The Diamond Shop.
Nourishment for your mind. Marc Cox. Catch anything you missed today by getting the show podcast at 971talk.com.
The economy shrank. First time in 3 years. People are pointing to the tariff policy. There are people looking at their 401ks that are worried. What do you tell them? Is this going to work?
Capital Beat.
Congressman Eric Burlison on the phone with us back here in beautiful Missouri now. Congressman, how are you?
Doing great.
Great to have you on. That was Brett Baer on there with J.D. Vance. And J.D. Vance, of course, schooled him a little bit on what's going on with the economy and all of that stuff. You know, I've been anxious to get you on this week because we've been obviously covering the 100 days. And I saw where you gave Congress a D and President Trump an A.
Yeah, I mean, I think Trump has come in with a bold plan. What's great is he had 4 years to kind of strategize how, and how to move quickly. And it's been fantastic. I think it's historic. I've never seen it in my lifetime in politics. It's the best first 100 days of any presidency.
Yeah, I would agree. And I watch idiots like Chuck Schumer. I'm sorry for the description, but it's how I feel. Come in talking about how this is the lowest polling president. And they reminded him that he's personally polling at like 17%. And his comment was, well, polls come and go.
That's great. But no, I mean, look, when Trump said, I'm going to secure the border, even back in the campaign, I thought, okay, will he get to 94% of illegal border crossings? Reduction. He's reduced it by 94%. That's unbelievable. absolutely unbelievable. And then you've got the all the executive orders on energy, unleashing American energy, defunding the EV charging stations and ending that EV mandate. All the woke garbage that he it was like a fog was lifted. The woke fog and the liberal malaise that has been a blanket over this country and oppressing free speech and thought for the past 20 years just suddenly got lifted.
It'll be interesting. Go ahead, Congressman.
No, I just think it was wonderful. It's wonderful. People can be funny again.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I'm just curious who you think will step up to the plate to run for president. Obviously, Trump won't be running again. I know he jokes about that. I'm assuming it'll be J.D. Vance. But the big question is, who's the leader of the Democratic Party? J.B. Pritzker, I don't think he's the leader, but he's been very vocal, having rallies in New Hampshire. He was on Jimmy Kimmel Live last night. Who do you think right now is the current leader of that party?
I don't know there is one. I don't see people getting behind Pritzker. I don't see him get behind Sanders or Alexandria AOC. I just don't see that. I don't see the vast majority. I think that if the Democrats want to win, they should look at people like a Josh Shapiro, who's able to win in a very difficult district or state. I mean, who doesn't dip. He's not crazy, right?
Yeah.
But that's not what the base of the party wants. They want the crazy AOC of the world.
Yeah, we're talking to Congressman Eric Burlison from Missouri's 7th Congressional District. I understand that you chaired a hearing this week on Made in America and what has to happen for that industrial renaissance. First of all, manufacturers have to be encouraged to come back here, right? Which is what Trump's doing.
Yes, and that conference really that meeting that we had gave me some hope. We were at a place. So America, we used to build everything. At World War II, we were building 60% of the GDP was being manufactured in the United States. So 60% of the world GDP was being manufactured in the U.S. That is mind blowing to think about, and that's why America won the war. When these wars, World War I and World War II started, America did not have the biggest navy. We didn't have the biggest military. We didn't have all the planes, but we were able to manufacture our way to a win, and that's unfortunate today that we're at, instead of 60%, we're at 11%. China is at 40%, right? So that should be startling to everyone who's listening.
Well, it should, and I remember when Donald Trump saved, or at least tried to save, the steel industry in his first term. And we saw Granite City Steel reopen over here to start making the kind of steel my dad worked in the steel industry, and most people probably don't appreciate the fact that different steel plants make different kinds of steel. And we were facing a situation in the United States where we weren't producing the kind of steel you would need to make tanks and battleships and all of that. We were having to import it. And he's like, this is not acceptable. What if we ended up in a war and the people we're importing it from happen to be who we're fighting? What are we going to do?
Yeah, which is ridiculous. Like Carnegie famously built the bridge there in St. Louis with steel, right?
Right.
To demonstrate its strength. We were at this situation, and our hearing was about where do we go from here? Because we're not going to beat China on having cheaper labor. We're not going to beat them at this point on having cheaper energy and all that. But we've got to try to get there. We've got to try to get our energy costs down, and we need to have robust electricity to provide. We need to have the raw materials, which means we need to unleash the mining and all of that. But we also can innovate beyond China. So this hearing was companies that have figured out the next stages of manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, and it's mind-blowing what they do. And so think about Amazon Web Services as a platform if you want to start an IT company now, you just go and buy shares of a server instead of building your own server farm. In your, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you buy shares, and you have all the applications you want. Like every software that's like nuts and bolts that you need is there, and you're just buying a percentage. And that they're going to do that with manufacturing. So if you've got an idea for a product today, in order to get that designed and to get a prototype, you got to go to China. You got to go to Foxconn, and they will build you a prototype. And then you go to another manufacturer in China, and then they'll tell you, how many they can produce and how much it'll cost.
Yep.
And but in this new world in America, you'll be able to do that on the fly, just paying for a share of a 3D printed, metallic 3D printing machine in America.
Well, I'm glad that we're looking into these things and looking at what has to happen there. So I just want your honest assessment on this. I listen to a bunch of different news sources, and the reporters in the mainstream media are playing this, that Republicans in Congress are losing faith in Donald Trump and his tariffs, and some of them are getting nervous about midterms. And I don't feel that way at all. I mean, you're in the halls of Congress. Is that how Republicans up there are feeling about this?
Well, politicians are politicians, but at the end of the day, my view is that politics has changed, and I think Donald Trump has changed it. Some people like to shy away from the bold things, and they think that getting reelected, in order to get reelected in a tough district, you avoid difficult things, you don't stand out, you don't take a stand. And I think it's opposite. I think people see what Donald Trump is doing, and that's what they expect out of their elected leaders is to be bold.
Yeah,
get it done.
Yeah, he breaks the template for sure when it comes to that kind of stuff. Congressman, always great having you on. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Yes, sir. We will talk soon. Enjoy your time at home with the family. We know you will. Kim, what are we whimming about today?
How many friends would you say you have?
Boy, you mean
lot?
close or like acquaintances?
Well, I don't really know, because Mark Zuckerberg says the average American has 3 friends, but the average American really needs about 15. So he's come up with a solution to help you get to that number. Wait until you hear this.
All right, we'll be back.
The Marc Cox Morning Show
on 97.1 FM Talk. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've been having a lovely commute, but it looks like we've got a little bit of volume now up north on the Illinois side. It's a delay westbound 270 just past 203. So between Route 3 and 203, a slow go. No reason given. And we've got some moderate volume downtown, westbound 70, leaving the city right around Salisbury. But I'll tell you what, for the most part, we look great. Eastbound 70 is a great run. 6440 looks great from out west into downtown. There was some moderate volume, pardon me, right at Hanley, and that was the worst of it. 44 had an accident reported in the Shrewsbury area, just past Shrewsbury, and that's caused a little bit of a delay, but 55 looks good. And that is from Festus all the way into downtown. You may encounter some moderate volume right at Bayless, and a little moderate volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge and ramping on to westbound 44. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
I had a chance to go to a bourbon tasting the other day, and they were serving Chattanooga whiskey, which is brand new to town. Thanks to our friends at Lore Wine and Spirits, you can now get it here, and they've got three actually great selections available in the greater St. Louis area. And they do things differently at Chattanooga, right? They take their mash, which of course is the malt and the whatever they're using in the mash, the corn, and they toast it in advance before they put it in the mash to distill the whiskey. It's a different approach, and it's a different outcome. I can tell you that. It's good. It tastes good, and you can find this at a very reasonable price point, anywhere from $35 to, I think, $44 a bottle. They've got a 99 proof rye, which is really good. They're Tennessee rye malt. They've got a 91 proof Tennessee whiskey, and then they've got a cask proof of that same whiskey that comes in at 111, and it's a 4-grain 3-malt signature recipe that you're really going to enjoy. Go out and look for it. It's at the Wine and Cheese Place. It's at Macadoodles, where I was just the other day. It's at Randall's and Friar Tuck's. Ask for it by name. It is Chattanooga whiskey.
Just a reminder to have your air conditioner checked for the summer so you don't have a mishap and it goes down in the hottest day of the year. But it's always best to have it done. Call us and we'll be more than happy to come out there and check it for you. And like always, if you're having your furnace checked by another company and you are told that this is the year you need to replace it, call me for a second opinion. The 0% interest is still available on most brands. Save your cash and keep your credit cards open and away from those high rates. Call me. You'll be glad you did. Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest. It is 314-293-2600 or on the website bartinman.com. Now that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
St. Louis's healthiest happy hour. Combining fitness and fun, it's a perfect team bonding activity for any size business. All levels of runners and walkers are welcome. Join us this spring at Energizer Park, home of St. Louis City SC, for the 10th year of the Biz Dash, the ultimate office party and kickoff to summer. Thursday, May 22nd at Energizer Park in downtown St. Louis. Create your company team today at stlbizdash.com.
I love the way he articulates things together, examples with all his stage members up there at all different levels, which is wonderful to see and inspiring.
That's Orlando on his Expo experience. It's coming again. Join Del Walmsley and Lifestyles Unlimited for Expo 2025, May 7th through the 10th in Irving, Texas. Get hands-on training from successful real estate investors and learn proven strategies that work. Find out more and save $100 when you text Expo to 88007, EXPO to 88007.
Who has the most 5-star reviews in St. Louis? Is J.D. Powers Award winner 5 years in a row and has the nation's best warranty coverage. Renewal by Andersen, that's who. Take advantage of our great May sale. $279 off every window and $729 off every entry door or patio door with 0 payments and 0 interest for 18 months. Check it out at rbastl.com or call 314-332-1924. Renewal by Andersen, a better way to a better window.
The news is fast. Listening to your favorite show at 1.5 speed is even faster. Download the podcast of your favorite 97.1 show. Upload it to the Odyssey app every day. All for your listening convenience. In the know. The Marc Cox Morning Show. Kim on a whim.
Mark Zuckerberg is really worried that Americans don't have enough friends. He says the average American has about 3 friends, but really has a demand for closer to 15. So his idea is to work on these personalized AI friends. He's calling it Meta AI. And he believes it can supplement your friendships with computer programs.
Oh, come on. Like you would have a virtual friend? Is that what he's suggesting?
Yeah, basically. Listen to him talking about this. Hang on.
You're not just going to want to like type to it. You want to like have a conversation, right? And it's not just about having it be like only able to answer hard questions. It should like get to know you and like what you think is funny and like what you ate, right? So that way, it can like, or, what your hobbies are. So that way it can kind of relate to you. And
isn't that what we all want?
It sounds like we're talking to some non-binary person or something. What's an it? Is it like, can you call it up? Does it have a phone number?
Good question.
Or do you have to chat with it in your chat box?
Here's what's ironic about this. He's saying, this won't replace real human connection. It will just supplement it. But the irony in all of this is when social media started really taking off, which Facebook started becoming a thing when I was maybe a senior in high school, something like that, around that time. So like 2007, maybe-ish, I think. That's when I feel like people started losing friends. Maybe. I mean, they had online friends, but they became so invested in just sitting behind a computer screen and now their phone and talking to people online that I feel like these real life human connections kind of were, I mean, they fell short. They weren't they weren't given the attention that they needed to continue on.
I know how much Mark Zuckerberg appreciates person-to-person communication because I saw the way he looked at Lauren Sanchez the day of the inauguration.
We all did.
But I'm just saying, here's the reason why this will be successful for him. You want to know why? For the same reason that they can sell sex dolls.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are people out there who are either introverts or have a hard time talking to people who are going to be much more comfortable with that than actually interacting with a human being.
Yeah.
I've seen these robots they sell that you can basically have in your house. I mean, they're not doing housework for you yet, but you can interact with them because you know there will be people seeking this kind of companionship. If he was smart, he'd just go ahead and charge for this now. Like,
he probably will. It'll be some sort of like a subscription program.
Yeah.
People have AI girlfriends and AI boyfriends already. And I've
People
never done this
mental
before.
health
Well,
problems
that's
is what
also
people
true.
have.
Well, it's funny you say that because that was exactly what Sharon was saying on Facebook. Anyone who takes advice from Zuckerberg needs more than friends. They need a psychiatrist. Amen. Yeah, it blurs reality with this AI technology because it's become so realistic. They look very human-like. They sound very human-like that you get invested. You start having feelings toward this non-existent bot, and it totally takes over. And you are, again, you're in these blurred lines of what is reality, and it's just very, very odd, and it's a slippery slope. And this is the future of where we're going. And that's why I think we have to be so careful with AI. The Trump administration's it seems like they're gung-ho about it. And there are a lot of good things about AI. I'm not saying we shouldn't embrace it. It can be used for good, but I am of the opinion that we need to be pumping the brakes a little bit and say, whoa, 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 whoa. This can go way too far very quickly.
I'm so disturbed by that. I really am. I think it's the death of human interaction if something like that catches on. Maybe it's too late because we all carry our phone around and sit at restaurants with our families and look at our phones instead of having conversations.
And that's sad.
I don't know. It is. By the way, speaking of sad, there's some guy in Kirkwood who has been vandalizing Teslas. And he got caught on camera, and the owner of the Tesla posted his interaction with this guy, challenging him about, argue with me. Why did you do this to my car? And the guy just walked away. Police talked to him, but he hadn't been charged, apparently. I have managed to track down the owner of that Tesla, and he's going to join me in the next hour at about 8:35. So stay tuned, and we're going to find out why he thinks that the prosecutor in Kirkwood will not charge this guy with a crime. We'll get to that coming up. Stay tuned.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, healthcare, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
Farming's hard. To feed the world, farmers have to work the land, brave the elements, and fight the battle against weeds. Weeds reduce crop yields, so prices go up and everybody gets less to eat. But 50 years ago, farmers got a new tool to fight weeds, glyphosate. It kills weeds while protecting the harvest. Time and again, it has been approved by the EPA and by leading regulatory bodies around the world. It helps enable practices that reduce erosion and keep soil healthy, which is good for the earth. Farming's hard, but it's a little easier with glyphosate. Learn more at go.bayer.com/glyphosate, paid for by Bayer.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
More hiring than expected. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. We just found that out about April.
Payrolls increased by 177,000 in April. Unemployment rate unchanged at 4.2%.
Fox Business Network's Lauren Simonetti. That's about 30% better hiring than economists were expecting, but it's slightly less than March's job creation, which was revised down to 185,000 jobs. The better than expected report has stock futures surging on Wall Street. President Trump will send his budget proposal to Congress today as Republicans keep working on a big bill to fund his agenda and extend the 2017 tax cuts and also make cuts in non-defense spending after all the work Elon Musk and Doge have done to identify waste, fraud, and abuse to cut out of the federal government.
According to the department, about $160 billion thus far. That's about $1,000 a taxpayer, though short of the $2 trillion Musk initially had targeted. Musk says Doge must be a long-term enterprise. If not, he says the waste will return. Musk's special government employee status is scheduled to end May 30th. Democrats want him out now. They accuse Doge of way overinflating savings, cutting vital government services, research, and foreign aid.
Fox's Rich Edson at the White House. Last night, President Trump went to the University of Alabama, telling 2025 graduates,
"You're the first graduating class of the golden age of America. We're in the golden age. You watch."
And the morning after he praised Alabama, the president took aim at Harvard, posting on Truth Social he's going to take away Harvard's tax-exempt status, writing it's what they deserve after the university filed a lawsuit trying to block the president cutting off Harvard's federal funding over its handling of anti-Israel Gaza war protests. A Trump executive order aims to take federal funding away from PBS and NPR.
President Trump has claimed bias in the broadcaster is reporting. PBS's CEO and President Paula Kerger says Trump's action would disrupt the essential service PBS and other local member stations provide to the American people.
That's Krista Mayo. America's listening to Fox News.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Hey, we made it to Friday. I'm St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. This is a really pretty start to our day. Sunny, 61 degrees now at 8:03. A new report finds 2024 was the deadliest year for pedestrians in both St. Louis City and county. According to this report from TrailNet, there was a 187% increase in these pedestrian fatalities in the city last year and a 24% jump in the county. Grand Boulevard was determined to be among the most dangerous streets in St. Louis. In the Metro East, more than 100 employees with Hubbell Wigman will soon be out of a job. The manufacturing company based out of Freeburg announced plans to close next year. The layoffs will begin in September. 110 employees are expected to lose their jobs. The Ferguson Police Department is giving teens and young adults a behind-the-scenes look at policing. Starting this month, young men and women between the ages of 14 and 20 can attend a class that will explore careers in policing and also offer an understanding of what policing looks like in their community. One of the department's sergeants says this is an opportunity to impact the public's perception of policing. 8:04 is our time and 61 degrees at 97.1 FM Talk. In sports, get ready for it. Downtown St. Louis will be rowdy tonight. A lot going on. Here we go. The big thing, of course, being the Blues game. They're facing Winnipeg for Game 6 tonight. Enterprise Center, 7 o'clock. This is a must-win game. Now, if they win, they will be back in Winnipeg for Game 7 on Sunday. Meanwhile, the Cardinals lost 9-1 against the Reds yesterday to wrap up that series. Tonight, they're back at Busch Stadium to kick off a 3-game series with the Mets. First pitch, 7:15, so right around the same time as the Blues game. Also happening tonight around the same time, the Battlehawks are at home playing the Renegades again. Yes, we just played them a few weeks ago. Kickoff for that game, 7 o'clock. Tomorrow, it's City's turn. They're on the road playing Seattle. That game at 9:30. And then the Kentucky Derby also coming up tomorrow. 61 degrees at 8:05. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads, you know what? It has been a nice commute this morning, but there is an exception. On the Illinois side, if you are westbound on 270, it slows approaching Route 3. And it's heaviest between 203 and 111. Now, that is definitely the worst of it. Eastbound 70 looks great. Wright City into downtown 6440 is in good shape. Northbound 270 looks good. Northbound 55, just a little slow at Bayless, and that kind of comes and goes. And if you're headed in from Illinois, no delays on the bridges downtown. We actually look good through there. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
We are in a funky little weather pattern as a small cutoff low pressure system gets stuck over the bi-state region. A mix of clouds and sunshine, a couple of showers during the afternoon hours primarily. 69 for the high. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy, 51. Saturday, unsettled skies, couple of showers, but also a fair share of dry time, 65. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
61 degrees at 8:06. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show or any other show at 97.1 FM Talk anytime or anywhere by downloading the free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
The Marc Cox Morning Show.
Listen to both sides.
The bottom line is,
I respect that we don't agree.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Just to find a voice.
Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
I don't know how to put this.
Marc Cox.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Well, it adds excitement, doesn't it, folks?
All right, welcome back into the Marc Cox Morning Show. Lots to get to on this Friday morning. Glad that you're here with us. Before the end of the hour, at the bottom of the hour, we are going to talk to the owner over in Kirkwood of a Tesla that just got vandalized, and he caught the guy on camera doing it. And the question is, what happens now? Because apparently the local prosecutor there is not going to prosecute the guy for what he did to this guy's truck. So we're going to talk to that truck owner here at the bottom of the hour at like 8:35 and get his real-time reaction to maybe the lack of interest on the part of a local prosecutor, and his truck is potentially damaged as a result of this. So we're going to get to that for you at 8:35. Right now, I want to focus on something we talk about a lot, which is downtown St. Louis. And oftentimes, you know, I'll admit I'm covering stories that are negative about downtown, about, you know, crime. We see it. We work downtown here at 8th and at Olive and 12th Street. So we see it ourselves. But it's about perception. What's your perception? Do you come downtown just for ball games and then go home? Do you go to Washington Avenue, to the restaurants, all that stuff? There's a lot of investment being made on Washington Avenue right now. We've got Alex Oliver with us from Oliver Properties, and they've just announced a $5.7 million investment downtown in a loft building. And Alex, welcome into the show. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Good to have you on this morning. So obviously you guys have a lot of confidence in Washington Avenue, despite maybe either people's perception, whether it's reality or not, that the area was not what it was a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a lot of confidence. So we've been investing on Wash Ave for about the last 18 months or so, is when we first picked up our first property right at 10th and Washington. We've now acquired another, I guess this last one we picked up is our 5th property there on Wash Ave. And we recognize they all need work. As you mentioned, we're putting millions of dollars into the building to upgrade them from what's been really not reinvested since they were originally redeveloped into lofts in the early 2000s. So a lot of these buildings, it's been 20 years since they had major capital reinvested into them. And we're finding success. We've got about 320 units right at the corner of 11th and Washington, and they're all 90, 95% occupied.
That was kind of my question was, we keep hearing these stories about how businesses, some of them being on Washington Avenue, and some of these residents are moving out of the city. They're moving to a different state. They're moving to somewhere in St. Louis County, St. Charles County. I mean, 90% occupancy is pretty great. Has that been consistent, or have you seen that fluctuate over the years?
So again, we've really been taking a strategic approach to our investment on Long Wash Ave. So we're going after properties that have not been performing well, because they've not been reinvested. And that's kind of the general theme here along Wash Ave. There was a huge boost of, investment in the historic tax credit era when that first came out in the early 2000s. So, there's thousands of apartments and condos right along Wash Ave between 10th and 18th Street, but a lot of them have not been reinvested in 20 years. And so we were going after properties that were underperforming, hadn't had the reinvestment done into them. And so we're improving the community space, the clubhouse, making it more appealing, adding amenities, make these apartments compete in what residents are looking for today. And then as far as finding people that are liking this, I think we're setting an incredible leasing pace. So a lot of our buildings, we actually took over a bit like 70, 60% occupancy. Our occupancy actually went down for the first several months because we were doing work in the building and renovating it and getting some problematic people out of the property. And then when we started leasing back up again, I mean, there was a spate last fall. We signed 90 new leases in 90 days.
Wow. Well, what's the demographic? Are these younger people who work in downtown?
Yeah, actually, our employment base, it's pretty scattered around. So we have some that are working downtown. We have people that work at restaurants and hotels and bars downtown. We have other people that work over at Scott Air Force Base. We have quite a few people that are engineers that work out of Boeing out near the airport. And they're looking for an urban, walkable environment. So if you're like someone who's young, professional, I recognize we're not going to win over the audience that has, 3 kids, 2 dogs, 4 cars, and wants a yard and a 3-car garage. That's not our target audience. But if you're someone who wants an urban lifestyle where you can walk out your front door and have restaurants and bars and shops and activities and go to sporting events and go to concerts, that's who we're really finding is gravitating towards us. So we're getting about 30% are people that are already living in the metro area. Another 30% that are moving in are coming from either Illinois or Missouri. And another 30% are completely out of state. So we're actually getting a ton of transplants.
And I see the appeal. Like, walkability is very big, especially for the millennials and probably younger, that those generations in particular. There has been a concern about some issues, crime or drag racing, things like that downtown. How do you feel like the city has handled some of these issues that have been, I don't want to say plaguing the city, but maybe that is the word that's best to describe it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the city as a whole, we can, I think, agree no matter what neighborhood you're in, there are challenges. There are certainly challenges in our whole city, whether you're in downtown, North City, South City, in these neighborhoods, I see issues all over the place. We lived in the Central West End for years. Sometimes there's car break-ins over there, people running stop signs. Like, it does happen. I lived downtown at One Cardinal Way for a couple of years, 2021 to 2022, and it was pretty rough. Now, a lot of that has changed since Gabe Gore came into office, and we have a stronger prosecuting attorney. The police force, I think, has been pretty strong about cracking down on some of these behaviors. So I've seen a real difference in 2023 through 2025 compared to what we saw in like 2020 through 2022.
Yeah, and just out of interest, how do you address those concerns with potential clients? Do you have to provide additional security for your buildings?
Yeah, we have security in our building. So overnight, we have a security staff that rotates through the various properties. They're kind of like a roving patrol.
Sure.
We're also on Wash Ave, where the downtown SID and there's the new Wash Ave SID has some private security forces that are also adding additional security. Obviously, the police are out here as well. GSL has their safety ambassadors. So there's a lot of security forces around in downtown. I think a lot of it is, an ongoing perception of what some of the challenges are versus maybe more of the reality.
Yeah.
And some of the issues are, we're getting some of the problematic behaviors that were coming from residents in our buildings when we took over the properties are no longer there. And so that's some of the issue as well. We went from, there was 70 police calls at our property the year before we acquired it. And last summer there was 10.
Perfect. Alex Oliver, listen, if people want to find out more about your lofts or Oliver Properties, where can they go?
Yes, our website, OPSTL, like Oliver Properties St. Louis, that's got our primary information on it. We've got our 6-cord lofts on Wash Ave, Vanguard, Copia, BHAT, and now the newest property, Bogan Lofts, all have their own website with information out there.
Excellent. Alex, thanks for your time.
Really appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely. Take care of yourself. Good to see that there are people with the confidence. That's what it's going to take. You've got to know the problems are there, have a plan for addressing them. It sounds like they have, and get buy-in from the city to take part in that, right?
Yeah, I do appreciate people like Alex who are investing in our city. This has to also involve the city, though, and I hope under Mayor Spencer's leadership that she'll do something about this, and that she has talked about, let's staff the police department. We'll make it happen. Put actions behind some of these words that you said on the campaign trail.
Very true. Very true. All right, we're going to get to a quick break. We've got the Chiefs coming in next. We're going to talk guns and hoses. We're going to do our Queen of Hearts drawing winner right after the break. Stay tuned.
The Marc Cox Morning Show
on 97.1 FM Talk. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We are looking good on the roads. Now, there was a stall westbound 70 past Lambert St. Louis Airport. They had it on the left shoulder, but it's really not causing a delay. The delay we do have is on the Illinois side, and it's westbound 270. It's jammed from just a little bit west of 203 all the way back to 111. So if you are traveling in that area, expect a delay. But we look fine if you head in from Illinois downtown. All of those bridges in good shape. And things look great on the Missouri side. Eastbound 70, fine. Forestel into downtown. 6440, where there was some moderate volume at 170, and that's about it. And we look fine even if you're northbound 55 through multiple construction zones. They all have light traffic at this hour. This report brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, Lakeside Renovation and Design has been St. Louis's trusted choice for transforming homes inside and out. Windows, siding, kitchens, baths, outdoor spaces. They deliver quality craftsmanship backed by lifetime warranties. Visit lakesiderd.com to start your dream project today. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
About Rhino Shield for just a moment. My friend Darren has been sending me some pretty incredible before and after pictures. And you go to his website to find out more on that, 877-25rhino.com. But the different applications for this Rhino Shield, it's just like paint. It's like paint, but it's so unlike paint. I have a hard time describing it. It is thicker than paint. It forms a ceramic shield where it's impervious to weather. It rejects the rays of the sun, so it doesn't fade like regular paint tends to do. It doesn't wear off being hit by rain and sleet and wind and all that stuff. It just doesn't affect it. And therefore, they can give you a 25-year warranty on your house that it's going to last at least that long. It's going to look good for that long. It won't chip, crack, or peel for that long. Whatever's on the outside of your house, Rhino Shield can cover it, chances are. And if it can't, then Darren's going to be honest with you about that. But brick, block, aluminum, steel, hardy cement board, all get bonded completely to Rhino Shield, and then you are covered. Call them today. Ask them about this beautifully durable Rhino Shield, 877-25-RHINO, or online at 877-25rhino.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-568-4433. 800-568-4433.
I'm Danny Cohn, President and CEO of the Jewish Federation of St. Louis. This past week, the Jewish holiday of Yom HaShoah commemorated the 80th anniversary of the Holocaust and remembered the 6 million Jews who were murdered by the Nazis in World War II. As Jews, when we recall the atrocities of the Holocaust, we say, never again. This is not a slogan or a tagline. It's a responsibility we all share to prevent the systematic hatred from going unchecked. When we work together to fight against prejudice and bigotry towards everyone, we create a better community for everyone.
I'm Dr. Nick Barnes at Health From Within Family Chiropractic in Rock Hill. At Health From Within, our mission is to transform the way you manage your health by bringing you the truth about health and healing. We use proven techniques to remove interference in the nervous system and maximize health naturally, without drugs or surgery. Connect with me at healthfromwithinstl.com and join me for Maximize Living on this station every Sunday at 8 a.m. or download the Maximize Living podcast, healthfromwithinstl.com.
Mizzou football is here to stay. After an undefeated home season and a second straight 10-win year, the Tigers are looking for more in 2025.
Eli and the boys have done it again.
With a top 10 transfer portal class and a strong home schedule highlighted by Kansas, Alabama, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, you don't want to miss out. Get your spot in line by joining the season ticket waitlist at mutigers.com/FB waitlist. MIZ.
Making radio great again. The Marc Cox Morning Show. Find everything Marc Cox at 971talk.com/Cox. Guns N' Hoses Queen of Hearts, benefiting the St. Louis Backstoppers.
So proud that we are the exclusive radio partner for Guns N' Hoses and helping them raise money. And, of course, all that's going to go to Backstoppers, and we can't wait for that. In fact, I believe we have Colonel O'Toole on the phone right now, director of Backstoppers. And, Colonel, thank you for being on time because your cohorts are not.
Well, Mark, I'll tell you, it's not surprising that a police officer is on time and a firefighter is late. I mean, there's no wonder why they're able to save the basements in so many of the fires where the other parts of the structure is burnt. But
they can't even defend themselves. They're not here yet.
Right?
I love it.
Hey, I just want you to make note of this, that, hey, the police, we're here, ready to go. And the firefighters, of course, when he gets in there, you can tell him that the scene is secured. He'll know. That's what we say is the police get there first, and we have to let them know the scene is secured. They can come in, which is true. But it's unfortunate that there's a reason for that, is because a lot of the shooting scenes, example, are not necessarily secured for a while. So it's all about safety. But I kid. My firefighters, brothers and sisters, but they do a fantastic job.
Well, we're so excited because sometimes these Queen of Heart raffles go on for weeks and weeks and weeks, and there's never a winner. And already, just a few weeks in, we had our first winner. And now it's going again, and the pot is up over $1,600, I think. And
wow.
Yeah, we can announce the winner right now. In fact, the winner for this week, the card is the 9 of clubs for slot number 38. And the winner there is going to get $25. We appreciate them taking part in this. We appreciate that. Mark was the winner, and the ticket number is 297-815-413, 297-815-413, and the pot keeps growing. And if you get the Queen of Hearts in this drawing, you win half of the jackpot, and half of it goes to Guns N' Hoses. So that's the greatest thing about this whole thing, is that all year long we're going to be generating money for Guns N' Hoses.
It's fantastic, and as you know, Guns and Hoses, they raise money which comes right here to the Backstoppers, and we can't do, and everybody knows what we do with the our fallen heroes who die in the line of duty or who are catastrophically injured in the line of duty. That we step in and we give that financial assistance to those families, but we can't do it without donations and memberships and fundraisers and Queen of Hearts. I mean, that's what this is all about in order for us to fulfill our mission.
Yeah, I did see the other day where the Ferguson officer who was injured and got the brain injury.
TJ.
Yeah,
TJ Brown
is up and moving around now and able to talk. That's fantastic.
Our board, the Backstoppers board, I think going back to about 2004 is when they started this catastrophic injury fund. And since that time, 2004, we have 13 first responders who the board has, have said are catastrophically injured. Now, what that does for us here in the office is it immediately gives us that we have the ability, the authority to spend up to $150,000 to assist those catastrophically injured officers, first responders. And if we need more, then we can go back to the board. We only have 13 first responders who are in that category, but I can tell you 5 of the 13 are paralyzed.
Wow.
At least 2 of them have lost limbs. We have one first responder who was shot in the face with a shotgun. He's blinded.
Yeah.
So when you see these injuries, they are truly catastrophic. And this is what they started doing, like I said, in 2004 was to help. They saw the need. And we're fortunate that because of people giving money, donating, and fundraisers and everything Guns and Hoses does for us, is we're able to do this. And they added this to our mission. And as long as we're able to, we have the funds available, we're going to continue that mission.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic.
Well,
but TJ it's remarkable what he's done. And very recently, Nathan Speece lost his leg on the highway. So those are 2 right there that we are taking care of, assisting financially right now.
Well, that's fantastic. And, we got Colonel Larry O'Toole on the phone with us right now. This just what you just said sent a chill down my spine, because it speaks to the fact that when most of us go to work every day, we don't risk losing a limb or being paralyzed or all those things, but our first responders do. And they put their lives on the line every day, which is why we love that you guys are there for them at Backstoppers. I will have to tell you, Colonel, since we've had you on the phone for like 5 minutes now, the firefighters have finally arrived. Greg Brown is in the studio.
We have a message for you, by the way, unless you wanted to just tell him, Colonel.
No, you tell him. He'll get it.
Well, I've been told that the scene is secured.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I brought the important stuff. I'm taking care of my friends here at 97.1. Why Colonel O'Toole is still sitting with his bunny slippers on at home.
You can go ahead and put a little water on what's left of the structure that was on fire. It's just smoldering at this point, but go ahead.
I'm sure we could get somebody to come by your home and put some water on your home.
We love what you guys do. Love the rivalry and yet the love you guys have for each other, I can tell you.
Well, if Colonel O'Toole would have worked a little harder, he could have been a firefighter.
Think of all those barbecues you missed, Colonel O'Toole. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'd be able to get some rest, that's for sure.
Is this the smack talk that goes on during actual fights for Guns and Hoses, before and after, during, the whole
before,
thing?
after, during?
Yep.
It doesn't end.
That's funny.
It is good stuff. Well, I'm going to people need to get on there and buy some tickets for this. You can go to stlgunsandhoses.com is the link. I think the last winner only bought like 5 tickets, so you don't have to buy a lot of them. If you buy 5, you get one free. If you buy 15, you get an extra couple. So get on there, buy your tickets, and that all the money's going to Guns and Hoses. So best of luck to everybody, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you.
No, absolutely. Colonel O'Toole, great having you on today. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.
All right. We appreciate that. And Chief, thank you. I'm sorry you hit some traffic on the way down here this morning.
Yeah, it was a little congested trying to get down.
I'm sorry about
all
that.
the way from the hinterlands.
Well, I know. And plus you had to make a detour to Chicken Ellie's.
To Chicken Ellie's.
He's just trying to serve us.
Thank you.
That's right. Just here to serve.
He's still a public
Still
servant.
in retirement, yeah.
Even though he's retired.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Retired Chief Greg Brown from Eureka. Thank you, my friend.
You are very welcome.
I saw your predecessor last weekend at the trap shoot for Eureka.
Yeah.
Or your successor, I should say, not your predecessor. Awesome. All right, got to go. We'll be back in just a minute with the owner of that Tesla truck in Kirkwood that got vandalized. Stay tuned.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for the Doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. We call them the Doctors because they've treated more than 250 doctors, more than any other practice in St. Louis. So if you're looking for the best doctors for your best vision, it's Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. Doctors Birdie and Malhotra are cornea surgeons and experts in the diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye. I had an eye disease when I was younger. It left me with a silicone buckle around my right eye, so I put my trust in Ophthalmology Associates to take care of my annual checkups. Maybe you're experiencing dry eye, allergy eyes. They can help. They can help with cataracts, macular degeneration, glaucoma, and LASIK surgeries. And if you're looking for the best eye care, it's Ophthalmology Associates. Make an appointment today by calling 314-966-5000 or online at yourEyeDoc.com. They have a great office location just west of 270 on Manchester Road. Again, the phone number, 314-966-5000. The website, yourEyeDoc.com. Ophthalmology Associates.
All right, the rain has been here. It's gone for the moment downtown, but there's more of it moving in this afternoon. That's not a big deal if your basement's dry. But if you know that you have a problem, or after all the rains we've had the last few days, you've noticed some moisture on the floor in the basement, get it taken care of. Don't mess around with that. It can cause mold and all kinds of problems. Home Shield Foundation Repairs will be there for you. I know Matt Hayes personally. This is a local family-owned company. When you call them, and you tell them you heard this from Marc Cox, Matt Hayes himself is the one coming to your house. I'm just telling you that. He's not sending a top sales guy. He's going to be there. He's going to evaluate what needs to happen. He's going to fix it for you. He can waterproof it. He can fix your sump pump or install one. They can fix those bowing or cracked walls if that's what you got. And you get a lifetime warranty. You don't have to deal with it ever again. That is peace of mind. Go check out the video on their website. It's HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
I'm Nicole Murray with Your Money Now. Breaking news, President Trump has issued his latest call for the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates following a better-than-expected jobs report for April. On Truth Social, Trump said the country is in a transition phase and the Fed should lower rates now. Spotify said Apple has approved the company's U.S. app update, which will allow users to access pricing information and links to make purchases. The approval comes after a U.S. federal judge ordered Apple to stop imposing the commissions it makes on purchases through iPhone apps. Apple said it will comply with the court's order, but strongly disagrees and will appeal. Kohl's said it has terminated its new CEO, Ashley Buchanan, after an investigation determined that he directed the retailer to engage in vendor transactions that involved undisclosed conflicts of interest. Kohl's named chairman, Michael Bender, is as interim CEO effective immediately. Futures are sharply higher after a solid jobs report on Thursday. The Dow Industrials gained 83. That's your money now.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we've had a great commute this morning in general, and even what we did have is thinning out. So we look really good. If you are eastbound on 70, it looks great from Warrenton into downtown. We had a little bit of a slowdown eastbound 6440 at Winghaven. So if you're in that area going, what? She said it was a great commute. It's that one area that's slow, and then it will open up and look fine, even at the Interbelt. 55 looks good as well, and that volume that we had up north, westbound 270, has thinned out as you head for Route 3. This report brought to you by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
The Martins came over, we were having spaghetti when we suddenly noticed that we started getting sweaty. So we grabbed the keys and we ate it in the van. That's what my friend said, call Jerry Kelly, man, JerryKelly.com. Give him a call, even though it's late, JerryKelly.com.
Let's talk about your windows here for a second. How are they holding up on your home? Have you gone to open them when we've had some of these nicer days? Maybe this morning because it's been in the 60s and really beautiful outside. And they're just not opening like they should. They're jamming. You've noticed cracks. It's time to ditch them, especially if they're vinyl windows and you want to swap them out with windows that are built to last. I'm specifically talking about these Infinity from Marvin windows, and the go-to place for those is going to be Lakeside Renovation and Design. Lakeside's actually the only place here in the St. Louis area where you can get these top-of-the-line fiberglass windows. When I say top of the line, I mean they're 8 times stronger than vinyl, right? They're designed specifically not to warp or crack or lose their seal, which then can let water in when it rains, which we've obviously had a lot of. New windows obviously can help your curb appeal, but they really can add value to your home. It can help with your energy bills. What I love about Lakeside Renovation and Design is they're a family-run business. They back up their work with a lifetime workmanship warranty. Whole crew, by the way, is in-house. They're not outsourcing to third parties. They know every single person by name who's coming to your home to do any project, whether it's windows, sidings, a new kitchen, bath, basement, deck. I mean, you name it, they do it, inside and outside projects. Give Lakeside a call. If you're looking for windows, though, go to windowsbylakeside.com. They have all the options you can pick from. They'll help you pick the color, the trim, everything to customize it to your home. 636-978-5000. They'll give you a free consultation. Take advantage of 24 months interest-free financing. It's windowsbylakeside.com.
The Cards, the Mets.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 7:15.
Play ball.
Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Annie Fry here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I drive home. I'm probably okay. I open the window to stay alert. Probably okay. I just popped some gum in my mouth.
Step out of the car, please.
I probably made a mistake.
Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
He's not from the government, but he is here to help. The Marc Cox Morning Show.
Hey, how you doing? Good. Yeah? You like putting stickers on cars?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't? Yeah, I got a video of you. You don't know?
No.
Okay. That's fascinating.
Yeah, that is a Kirkwood man who caught a Tesla vandal, who caught the guy on the cameras on his car sticking stickers on the side of his car. Like, I guess we're going to find out exactly what those stickers said, because we've got Christian Kirk on the phone. He's the gentleman that posted this up on X, and it's kind of going viral around the country as he confronted the vandal responsible for all this. Christian, welcome into the show.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for giving me a few minutes this morning, because I watched the video. I thought you handled it probably much more peacefully than I might have, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. I just kind of describe, because you said this has happened several times. He's been putting them on other cars in Kirkwood. You caught him twice putting a sticker on your car, correct?
Yes, exactly. So I think like 3 days ago, like somebody told me, they said, "Hey, what's that on your car?" And I was like, "Oh," and I looked and saw it said FUS ... Elon. It was a full word spelled out, the sticker, and I didn't even notice it. So I pulled the little hard drive from the glove box and roll up and slap a sticker on my car. And so I was like, huh. And then I was like, just in case I go back to the same coffee shop, I'm just going to park in the same spot. And then I'm going to have my notifications on so that I can, right when he does it, I can be there. Yeah. But to kind of back up, I had initially posted his picture on the local Tesla Facebook group, and there were a ton of replies saying, "I got this Sentwood." The person was like, "Oh, he got me in Webster."
Wow.
So yeah, there were a lot of folks that were kind of pissed off, so there's a lot of conversation. So I kind of went about my week, think about it, but was like, oh, if this happens to, go down again, at least I'll kind of have a game plan. So yeah, I was just getting my coffee and got that, and I walked out and I saw him walk past.
Christian, are you still there? We keep your phone keeps cutting out. I'm sorry. We only caught part of that, but you saw the guy walk past your car, and that's when you confronted him?
He walked past me when I was going out to confirm that he had a sticker on.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because I wanted to make 100% sure if I was going to push
Confront
any
him.
buttons that
Right. You don't know how he'll react.
So yeah, I saw the sticker. I came in the shop and I saw him sitting there, and I make videos for a living, so I kind of know how to plan. I just quickly had a game plan and went in and just asked him what his deal was.
He denied it.
Yes, he at first denied it, which was funny. And again, I mean, the crazy thing is when I put the video up on X or whatever, and it got it blew up, and everybody in the comments is like, "Oh, I would have leveled him and broken his teeth and this and that." I'm like, man, nothing's gonna happen. What are you gonna hurt some old dude?
Right. Oh, he's old.
Yeah, I mean, he was
not young.
He wasn't a spring chicken. You know what I mean?
The guy's like, hey, he's listening to the show. But what surprises me is that I understand this is a sticker, but Mark and I were talking earlier that sometimes these stickers don't come off. And it still seems like whether it's a sticker or spray paint or whatever, it still should be considered vandalism. And you're saying that police are doing nothing. A prosecutor has said, oh, no, we're not going to do anything as far as pressing charges.
Yeah, so there's a lot to unpack there, to be honest, because it's one of those situations. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, thank you.
A little tricky. There's the issue is if you want to get somebody in trouble for something, it takes a lot of work. Everybody thinks back, oh, you do something and the law is going to get you. No, you need a motivated person to pay money and fund, lawyers, and there's a lot that goes into that. And so I knew that right away, because this had happened to me in Frontenac before, where some kid wrote on my car with his fingers, and I caught him, and I actually confronted him in the gym. And it was the same thing. He just folded instantly. But when I talked to the police, and again, the police were just like, listen, is there any permanent damage? This is just going to sit on a prosecutor's desk for 6 months, and then they're going to choose not to take it on. And so I'm like, okay, how can I actually actually make there consequences? Because that's the only thing that matters.
Christian, you're breaking up on us again, my friend. I'm sorry.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, still breaking up.
It's still breaking up a little bit. I don't know if you're in a building or what's going on. Yeah, now I can hear you. Sorry.
This feels like one of those commercials. Can you hear me now?
But yeah, I mean, the bottom line is that there are rules, but there are not consequences. At the end of the day, you're not supposed to stick around somebody's car, but is there a consequence to you? No, not really, except for, for this character.
Christian,
I put together a video.
Yeah, we're really having a hard time hearing you. About every other word is coming through. I don't know if the problem's on your end or our end. I apologize for that. If you can move to a different area or something, that would be great. But my other question is, I invited you on my show this morning. I have no idea what your politics are, but it's weird to me that the people that pushed hard for people to drive electric vehicles, many of those people are the ones that are now out vandalizing them, it seems to me like. Have we lost Christian altogether? What's that? Let me try it again. Are you still there, sir?
I'm here. Yeah. Can
Okay.
you hear me?
So yeah, I can. Sorry, I don't know if you heard my question or not. So go ahead. What's your answer?
Well, it's look, like politically, I'm relatively neutral. I will say I've been pushed in certain directions just based on the way people treat me. But for the most part, I'm just trying to lay low and mind my own business. I like cool things. I thought a Tesla, I thought it was cool, so I wanted to get it. It wasn't really about making a statement, and it's just funny. Like, I get the middle finger 3-4 times a week.
Oh my gosh.
Driving.
That's
Easy.
crazy.
Yeah.
Like you're not even, like you said, it's not like you're buying it because you love Elon Musk and you love Donald Trump, like many people think. And so it just makes no sense that those are the people who are out there trying to vandalize it, setting them on fire and, spray paint, or in this case, stickers.
It's completely wild. Again, it's frustrating because my kids love it. And that's what's funny to me is like kids that don't have any of this political filter from any race, whatever, they're all just like, oh my God, look, it's cool,
Yeah.
But then there's these people. I hate to say it, it's a pretty specific demographic that gives me the dirty looks, the middle fingers, and the stickers. You can kind of pick them out of a lineup, which is funny.
Has it gotten so bad you've thought about selling it?
No. But there's days where it usually doesn't bother me. But if you're having a bad day and then someone throws you that kind of energy on top of it, you're just like, I didn't totally need that, but really, I don't care.
Well, Christian, I tell you what, man, I appreciate you giving me a few minutes this morning, and I'd love to know if you end up hearing back from that prosecutor. I agree with Kim. Vandalism is vandalism. Whether they scratched your car with a key or they stuck a sticker on there that you're going to risk damaging the paint to get it off, it's still vandalism. And unless they're held responsible for it, they're not going to stop doing it.
Well, totally. The thing is, the cop looked at me point blank and is like, is there permanent damage? And I'm like, no. I pulled the sticker off and there's nothing there. And so the thing is, like, at the end of the day, it's a waste of time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can definitely pursue it, but I already know that what I did in 5 minutes and slapping together that video did much more than anything. And again, that's the consequence. I hate to say it, like, I put that video up. People found out who he was. I know where he works.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. I can tell you this without saying he's a professor.
Oh my.
He works at a. So
wow.
But this video on X has 1.2 million views. The comments are full of people going, "Who is he?" Sure enough, someone finds him. They're getting emails as we speak, guaranteed.
Yeah, I hope so.
Hope the school is.
Yeah, no kidding. Christian Kirk, thank you for your time this morning, and get back in touch with us if this continues. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, you got it. Have a good one.
Absolutely. Take care. Yeah, I'm glad we got him on here this morning.
I almost said, wait, did you say professor?
A
teacher?
Professor.
I almost guessed professor,
he
like joked
like
about
it. Yeah,
oh, that's funny. He actually is.
All right. We've got a major network star on hold here, Chad Pergram from Fox. So I need to get to a quick commercial break. Chad, we'll be back with you in just a minute.
The Marc Cox Morning Show
on 97.1 FM Talk. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
What a great commute we've had this morning. Now, there's a little bit of volume eastbound 6440 at Timberlake Manor, but that's it. Then it opens up. Eastbound 70 looks great from out west into downtown. 55 is a good run. No delays on the bridges. If you happen to be headed in from Illinois, we're in good shape there. This report brought to you by New Perspective Senior Living. New Perspective Weldon Spring is redefining senior living. They've got modern apartments, delicious meals, activities, entertainment, even a state-of-the-art AI fall detection system. Visit npseniorliving.com to schedule a tour today. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk. Our tax code is completely nuts. And according to financial and tax architects, the number one tax saving strategy for retirement savings is hidden inside IRS tax code section 1.408A-4. Now, that's the thing. We save this money for retirement. Retirement looms. And then you think, wait a minute, I don't know the ins and outs of how to make my money go farther. I want to make sure that it covers me throughout retirement. I don't know the tips and the tricks of the trade. That's why I think this is such a good idea. Financial and tax architects put on a 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101, and they teach you all of that stuff, at least highlight it for you. And they do this for free at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis, but they ask that you bring 3 canned goods for St. Louis Crisis Nursery. There are some openings for classes this month, so call 314-947-2012, 314-947-2012.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. Call 314-499-2020. That's 499-2020 or GeneratorSuperCenterofStLouis.com. That's GeneratorSuperCenterofStLouis.com.
The Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup is coming back to St. Louis on May 7th. Join us at Energizer Park for the round of 32 as St. Louis City SC hosts Union Omaha and plays for the historic trophy. Get tickets now at stlcitysc.com/Open Cup.
At Progressive, we're making things even easier. We'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
The Annie Fry Show.
I don't think I ever really bought into the 51st date idea.
He's going to hurt them economically. And not because he hates them, but because he's like, these deals aren't good. They've never been good for us.
He's balancing it out.
Weekdays from noon to 3. Fully awake, never woke. The Marc Cox Morning Show. The Marc Cox Morning Show. On the air and streaming at 971talk.com.
All right, so I did have Chad Pergram hanging on the line there. He listened to the tail end of our interview with Christian Kirk, and then he had another hit he had to do for Fox, so I wasn't able to get back to him in time, and I apologize for that. I wanted to chat with him about some of the stuff in this tax bill that they're working on up in D.C. By the way, I have found out a little more information on this vandal from Kirkwood, who apparently has been walking around sticking Elon stickers on every Tesla he can find because he's just cocky enough to think he should be able to get away with that, vandalizing other people's cars. And like Christian said, it didn't damage his car. He was able to peel it off with no damage. The point is, you don't have a right to go up and put anything on anybody else's car. You don't have a right to do that. It wasn't like he stuck a flyer in the windshield under the windshield wiper. He stuck something with adhesive on the side of somebody else's car just because he thought he had a right to do it. because he's an outraged left-wing lunatic. Clearly, that's how I would paint these people that are out protesting at car dealerships. They're mad at Christian because he wanted a particular kind of car, went out and bought it. As he said, he's sort of apolitical, although this is kind of pushing in one direction or the other. He said he wanted a Tesla, so he went out and bought one. His kids think it's cool. He thinks it's cool, and this guy is trying to punish him because of the guy who owns the company that made the truck. It's not hurting Elon Musk. Elon Musk has already got Christian's $100,000 for his Tesla truck. That's what they cost, roughly.
So you're talking about the Cybertrucks.
The Cybertruck.
Yeah.
That money's already spent. So if it's, I assume I'm pretty sure it's a Cybertruck.
I think he said
Cybertruck. If it's a Cybertruck, that's roughly what they cost. That money is already in whatever profit Elon makes off of it is already in his bank account. So this butthead who decided he could walk around Kirkwood and slap stickers on people's cars. You don't have a right to do that.
Then he's apparently doing it all over the St. Louis area. I mean, that's what the crazy thing is. And now we've learned more about this guy.
So here's what we know about him. He works at Washington University School of Medicine. He's not a doctor, but he works at Washington University's School of Medicine. I'm not going to say his name on the radio, but what we are going to do today is reach out to him.
I mean, and right now.
And we're going to email the school for any comment on the fact that one of their employees is on video that's gotten over 1.5 million views online, vandalizing people's Teslas around the area, including the one most recently in Kirkwood, as you just heard from our guest a few minutes ago. And we'll see what the university's response is to it. Are they okay with one of their employees vandalizing cars and making headlines for it? Now, maybe they are. Maybe they're woke enough over there that they just don't care. Imagine the environment this guy works in if he works at a major university with the what we know are the academic pointy-headed liberals that work there. He probably goes to work and tells stories every day about how many of these stickers he slapped on Teslas today and has a big laugh about it.
Mm-hmm.
There needs to be some repercussion for this. I'm also interested in calling the prosecutor's office in the city of Kirkwood and asking why they would not prosecute this case. Police have investigated it. Why is it not prosecutable? I would encourage Christian to call the local U.S. Attorney's office or the local FBI office.
Advice.
You've got video of the guy doing it. It's not like he can deny that he did it, and whether they peeled off or not is irrelevant. I love the fact that Christian's got the guts to walk up and confront these people. A lot of people don't like confrontation.
Not only that, you don't know how he's going to react.
No, you
I
don't.
mean, this guy could do something crazy. If he's crazy enough to put a sticker like that on his truck and many others, he might be crazy enough to do something else.
Right. Well, I don't know. But here's the deal. He's not a teacher from what I can tell. So I guess in this particular case, you wouldn't have to worry about him going up and influencing your children. He works behind the scenes at Washington University as like a programmer or something. It says here on his bio. What a shame. What a rotten shame that happened to Christian. I'm sorry about that. I appreciate him coming on here and sharing his story today. And tune in Monday morning. We'll let you know what, if anything, we hear back from him or Washington University, where the Tesla vandal works and draws a salary, apparently. What a shame. All right, coming up, Brian Kilmeade will be in here in just a couple of minutes. Then the Andy Fry Show, Mark Reardon, 3 to 6. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday morning at 5 a.m. Thanks to my friends over at Grasser Electric for all they do, for being in business for 50 years, for providing great service to me and my family over the years, for supporting this radio station for as long as they have. If you need an electrician, I'm going to recommend you call my friends at Grasser Electric, 636-441-5200. They also stepped up and we're proud to help sponsor Annie's trip to Washington, D.C. to mark the 100 days of the Trump administration. So thanks to Shane and Josh Grasser out there. Listen, whatever you need, power line fell down. It's got to be reattached, the pole to the side of your house. Amron's not going to do that for you. You're going to need an electrician. You got power problems with your box, you got to get some of the breakers changed. They can do that at Grasser Electric. 636-441-5200. That's 636-441-5200. Tell them Marc Cox told you to call. Go online today to grasserelectric.com. Marc Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, May 20th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Here are Bob and Thomas with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and worried about the market volatility and losses at this stage in your life? Would you like to learn why linking to the market is much safer than owning the market?
Would you like to learn how to automatically lock in your market gains every year without having to sell? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll